CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. It is 6 o'clock on this Monday, June 29th. We're looking at a mix of sun and cloud for today. Highs hitting about 20 degrees. We'll get you a full forecast in just a moment. 14 degrees right now. Let's get to Lisa Best in the 6 o'clock news.
Now we start in the waters off our island. Search and rescue officials say 6 people still remain unaccounted for somewhere in the water off Vancouver Airport. The Canadian Armed Forces say the Joint Rescue Coordination Centre here in Victoria was alerted just before noon yesterday about several people in the water without any flotation devices. Military officials say it happened about 10 nautical miles southwest of the Vancouver International Airport. 4 people were plucked from the water around 3 Sunday afternoon. They were taken to the nearby Coast Guard station before heading to hospital. The search is continuing for the 6 others still missing. A ceremony and procession yesterday held in James Bay to mark the 5th anniversary of the hottest day locally in recent history. June 28th marked the 5th anniversary of the peak of that 2021 heat dome that killed at least 1,400 people across Western North America, including about 600 in this province, and many were in the James Bay area. A program brought about by the pandemic could cause financial headaches for Victoria's service industry. CFAX 1070's Koch Cotton has details.
City Director of Engineering and Public Works, William Doyle, warns a planned rate hike for Victoria hospitality businesses could lead to fewer operators renewing their licences. Victoria is set to raise the outdoor patio program's fee following a pause to staggered increases last year amid a volatile economic environment that was already putting pressure on the hospitality sector. Based on the current schedule in the bylaw, rates for next year would double from what was paid in 2026. Council will hear a recommendation this week to remove any further increases to the fee. Koch Cotton, CFAX 1070 News.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is slamming the Prime Minister's so-called condo bailout here in BC. Officials converting vacant condo units into affordable homes. That's the plan. Anyway, CTV's Jeremy Sharon has the details.
We need a full investigation into the Carney condo bailout.
In a new letter to the House of Commons Ethics Committee, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is calling for an urgent meeting to investigate what he calls a plan to bail out developers, bankers, and investors.
Who asked for this? Who lobbied for this? And who is benefiting?
Last week, Carney said no developer asked for this from him directly.
I don't think we've done, self-included, a particularly good job of rolling this out and explaining exactly what it is.
Carney says the move is about affordability, not bailing anyone out. The BC wildfire status update. We have 20 active fires burning in this province. Heading out of that weekend, last weekend, one sparked in the last 24 hours, one considered out of control. That is on the mainland. We have no new fires on Vancouver Island. The recent rain helped, but so could human activity and a bit of Mother Nature help. Meanwhile, residents of a remote village in the Northwest Territories are headed to Yellowknife today. They're forced to flee some flames.
The roughly 1,300 residents of Fort Simpson were ordered out last night. Wildfire officials have said the fire is roughly 4 square kilometers in size and is burning just west of the village's airport. They say the fire hasn't grown toward the community, but dry conditions have made suppression a challenge. Village officials urge residents to flee to the multiplex arena in Yellowknife. Weather forecasters say daytime temperatures for the community will be around 29 degrees today. The evacuation comes days after a plane involved in fighting the fire went down, killing all 3 people aboard. Aaron Sousa, The Canadian Press.
In Venezuela, search teams still trying to reach survivors days after twin earthquakes slamming into that country.
Time is running out for any survivors buried underneath rubble in Venezuela. 140 search dogs from 21 countries working night and day to find those trapped. New video shows a mother and her 18-day-old newborn pulled from underneath what remained of their apartment building in La Guaira after being trapped for 32 hours.
The death toll in the earthquake is now more than 1,400 people, and of course thousands more are injured. And as we head into the wilderness, heading into Canada Day, Wednesday's a holiday for most of us. And so it's a weird short work week, many people taking it off, and camping's a big thing. Doctors urging people to seek medical attention after any contact with bats to prevent potential rabies infection. In today's Canadian Medical Association journal, infectious disease physicians describe the case of an 11-year-old who died of rabies after waking up with a bat on his face in northern Ontario cottage country 2 years ago.
The boy's parents didn't see any scratch marks, so didn't take him to a doctor. He didn't show any symptoms until almost 3 weeks later, when he developed numbness and swelling on the right side of his face. His neurological condition worsened in the hospital, and he died. Dr. Brian Hummel from McMaster Children's Hospital in Hamilton says the tragic case illustrates the importance of seeing a doctor right away after any physical contact with bats. He says there is no cure for rabies once symptoms develop, but he says the virus can be stopped by a series of vaccinations and an antibody injection in the days after exposure. Karen Rebo, The Canadian Press.
That's your CFAX News to 6:05. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We are asking you if you agree with the province's move to omit Vancouver in the purchase of 2,200 condos for rent-to-own opportunities. Currently, 52% are saying yes. You can vote at cfax1070.com. Also, the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best, your news time, 6:07.
Thank you, Lisa. Good morning. Welcome to the day. We are going to be a mix of sun and cloud with a high of around 20 degrees, 14 right now. I'll get you a full forecast in a moment. Right now, over to the sports, and we'll start with your World Cup report.
This is your TSN Radio FIFA World Cup 2026 update.
I'm John Rodenberg. History for Canada at the World Cup.
Schaffelberg's ball into the box, headed away by Ocon. It's Eustachio!
Stefan Eustachio's goal in extra time gave Canada a 1-0 win over South Africa and its first ever win in a knockout game at the World Cup.
It was an amazing goal, but when I shot, I felt that everybody shot with me. Everybody put a little bit of power on it, and it went into the back of the net, so I'm very happy.
The greatest win ever for our men's national team and a moment to savor for Canadian coach Jesse Mark.
Hard work from these guys, the character of them, they're Canadian heroes. That's what I told them at the end. They're now Canadian heroes. I'm so happy for them.
Canada will play the winner of tonight's match between the Netherlands and Morocco in the round of 16 on Saturday. Two other knockout games today. Brazil battles Japan and Germany parries with Paraguay. You can watch the FIFA World Cup matches on TSN, CTV, Crave, and streaming at tsn.ca. Listen on the TSN Radio Network with all games streaming on the iHeartRadio app.
And a quick look at the local sports scene in baseball. Victoria Harper Cats came up short in the third game of their series against the visiting Bellingham Bells. They fell yesterday 10-2 to Bellingham. Harper Cats will try to regroup from that. So they did win the other two games of the series, but they'll regroup from that one loss. They will be tomorrow hosting the Nanaimo Night Owls as part of a 3-game set. In lacrosse, Victoria Shamrocks on the road with a 15-6 win over the Maple Ridge Barrage last night. Now, that came after the Shamrocks had their 5-game winning streak snapped on Friday night as the Burnaby Lakers managed to get a 10-9 overtime win over the Shamrocks, also on the road over the weekend. That's your CFAX Sports to 6:09. Okay, let's take a look at CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. The whole morning show is brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Summerfest is on now, and Thrifty Kitchens Kebab set the stage for your summer barbecue. Choose from up to 8 ready-to-grill varieties. So on the roads, one thing to point out, this is not in effect now, but starting at 7 o'clock, new road work. Well, it's kind of part of continuing road work, I guess, but a new stage of it. This is the ongoing Cook Street paving. They're doing a stretch from Hillside to Summit Avenue, so that's kind of, if you take Hillside and go north on Cook Street, there's a couple of blocks there that will see some lane closures and major delays from today and then kind of through the week, starting at 7 this morning and going until 7 p.m. It's for paving work there. Watch out for that. And they do note that they will be taking a break for Canada Day on Wednesday. BC Ferries, no sailing waits for you right now. 7 o'clock sailing is about half full of vehicle. The vehicle deck space is about half full, I should say. And in the weather forecast, let's take a closer look here and look a little further ahead at the week. This is the Canada Day week. We've got a mix of sun and cloud for today, highs around 20. Same again tomorrow. It's very similar tomorrow. We could be seeing a little bit of breeze off the Wanda-Fuca Strait in the midst of all of this. Then for Wednesday, we're going to be overcast for our Canada Day Wednesday with highs of 18 degrees. It looks like there's a chance of showers, but it doesn't really show up until Thursday. So staying dry for Canada Day, hopefully, even if we got a few clouds overhead. Chance of showers on Thursday. Then we're back on Friday with drier conditions, maybe still cloudy. The sunshine comes up, though, into the coming weekend. So kind of floating through just a little cloudy patch. Little chance of showers, but getting back to sunshine for the weekend. Over to the temperatures real quick, just to mention those. It's 12 degrees right now for most Greater Victoria. 13, though, at the Victoria International Airport. On the markets, well, we have not seen the stock markets open yet. That's a little later this hour, so let's take a look at how things closed off last week with Aaron Sousa.
Gains in the tech sector helped Canada's main stock index finish strong last week. Toronto's S&P TSX on Friday was up 129 points to close at 34,980. On Wall Street, the Dow lost 44 points and the Nasdaq dropped 60. In Tokyo this morning, the Nikkei was up 107 points. The Hang Seng in Hong Kong gained 354. Our dollar is trading at 70 and 46 cents US. The clock is ticking for the Canada-United States-Mexico agreement. Wednesday marks the set deadline for the countries to decide on renewing CUSMA. Canada and Mexico say they want to renew, but U.S. President Donald Trump has expressed reluctance. The Alberta government is expected to give Ottawa its proposal for a new West Coast oil pipeline on Wednesday. Provincial officials hope Ottawa will designate it a national interest project by fall. And a wreath will be laid in Toronto on Wednesday to honor the 4,000 Chinese workers who died building Canada's first transcontinental railroad. From the Canadian Press Business Desk, I'm Aaron Sousa.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Oversleepers, catch all the highlights on the latest audio podcast at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
Hello, welcome to Monday. On a week that's going to have 2 Mondays. It's one of those weeks.
I thought you were going to forget the date for a moment there.
No, I was just thinking because...
What day is it?
I love this week. For some, I've been excited for this. So we've got Canada Day Wednesday. Mm-hmm. It's like a Wednesday stat holiday, which means that we've got today and tomorrow, and we take a day off, and then we come back for another couple of days. It just feels like 2 short weeks.
Oh, it's going to feel quite weird.
Yeah.
Anyone working this week? A lot of people took it off.
Yeah.
They got smart. They planned ahead. They looked at it. Oh, it's a Wednesday. What do I do with that?
I'll just take the whole week off.
Well, pretty much. It's going to be like, we're kind of getting ghosted around here already today. I think we got 2 or 3 off. Wise move. Very smart move. You're taking the week off.
Do you ever get that sometimes when you realize you're the dummy who forgot to take the week off? Like you just, you get there and you're like, why didn't I do this?
Should have, could have, would have. Yeah, absolutely. There's times when that happens. This isn't one of them because, you can, you decide when you want to take your time off, obviously, and this week wasn't it. But you do look at it sort of whimsically going, oh, I wish I could have because it's a Wednesday. So it's nice to be able to stop down the middle of the week and, celebrate. But it's better if it's on a Monday or a Friday.
I am excited, though, for... Sleeping on Wednesday. It's going to be good. Canada Day, always love it. And we've just had such a great weekend, too, that's just passed us with so many cool things happening around town. Maybe you took some of them in. Let's talk about it in just a moment. I've also got some exciting news for everybody.
Do you?
About a little something we're doing here on the station.
Okay.
We're going to talk about that, too, in just a few minutes, so bear with us. A neat announcement. Okay. But first, over to the news with Lisa.
If you drive a Ford and it's a truck, well, you might be affected by this. Ford is recalling thousands of F-150 trucks in Canada for a second time. This after warning that repairs done during an earlier safety recall may not have been done correctly. Requires you to return it to the dealership for another software update. Good thing is they're going to pay for it. The recall affects 12,774 to be exact units from the 2018 through 2020 model years. The automaker says the repairs carried out earlier may not have been done correctly, and that, of course, means you have to spend some time back in the dealership. Canada's United Nations Ambassador David Lametti says artificial intelligence has taken up between 10 to 15% of his time since he took on the role last November. He says there's definitely alignment on the need for safety in AI, as well as concerns about emerging countries that may be left behind, particularly those in Asia. Lametti says that, quote, AI governance is something that the UN has to do and has a responsibility to do. And the legendary record executive Clive Davis will be honored today in a memorial service that's closed to the public. Davis launched the careers of stars like Whitney Houston, Alicia Keys. He died on June 22nd. Details about the attendees and performers at this event has not been released. The service will be live streamed, though. Davis is known for his pre-Grammy Awards gala, which attracted music's biggest names. Former U.S. President Barack Obama praised him at this year's event. Davis' sign stars Billy Joel, the Grateful Dead, and helped revitalize the careers of Aretha Franklin and Carlos Santana, among many others. And that is your news to 6:17.
Thank you, Lisa. Quick break. Traffic and weather coming up. If you see a problem out there, let us know at 7:10:10. Then lots to talk about as we get into our discussion about all of the cool events taking place over the weekend. Did you see any of them? Did you go and watch the Canada soccer game out somewhere? Were you at the big Langford Canada Day Bash? Jazz Fest continued and wrapped up this weekend. It was a busy one. We've also got a special announcement for you in just a moment. CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Bluebird Cabs. Need a cab? Download the Bluebird Cabs app. At Bluebird Cabs Ltd, they're proudly local and Canadian-owned and run since 1946. On the roads, nothing much going on at this very moment. You can text me at 71010 if you see a crash, accident, or weird delays in front of you as you make your way around town. I will tell you that Cook Street will be affected by some paving work starting around 7 this morning, so that's about 40 minutes away. The paving work will be going on Cook Street just north of Hillside, so a couple blocks north of Hillside there.
Is that same stretch that was closed?
Same stretch.
They actually closed it at Bay. They said local traffic only as of Bay yesterday.
This was yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty locked down.
Yeah, so they'll be doing it again today and then through the week, except for Canada Day Wednesday that it specified notified that they will not be working that day, so no problems there for them. No problems at BC Ferries either. 7 o'clock sailing is next with it's about half full for the vehicles. And then for the weather forecast, it's going to be a mainly sunny day today with a few clouds. Same again tomorrow. Temperatures around about 20 degrees both today and tomorrow. For Canada Day, it's going to get overcast, but it looks like the rain holds off until Thursday. But overcast and 18 degrees is a high for your Canada Day Wednesday. Then Thursday, Friday, cloudy with those chances of showers on Thursday. And then we're back to sunshine for the weekend ahead. Saturday and Sunday both looking like it'll start to get warmer too, with temperatures creeping into the mid-20s maybe by the weekend. Right now, it is 12 degrees for most of Greater Victoria. I am seeing the official temperature, though, is now 14 at the Victoria International Airport.
Ryan and Lisa are ready when you are.
Good morning.
Day or night, find the highlights under latest audio at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
Canada definitely just made history going to the round of 16 in the World Cup. I never thought I'd see that in my lifetime, honestly. But yeah, Canadian soccer is getting a lot better, which is warms my heart.
Our win was everything to us tonight. We had an amazing time. I can't wait for the next match.
Unreal. I mean, nerves all game, but the result we deserved, we wanted.
Woo! Oh, it was amazing. I was ecstatic the entire time. The vibe was great. And I was especially happy when they scored. Everyone was yelling. It was just a great time overall.
Yeah, especially happy when they scored at the end. There's a few different fans leaving different fan festivals all across the country yesterday as Team Canada managed to, again, make it further than they've ever made it with a 1-0 win over South Africa. They were doing it at BC Place Stadium, of course, all across the country. Here in Victoria, of course, there was, in Langford, the big viewing party, or maybe, like me, you just gathered the family around for your own private viewing party. That's what we did at my house.
At home?
Yeah, so we just in the living room, got all the snacks and drinks and sort of set the place up, and just me and the family, but we had a great time.
Okay, so a question for you.
Yeah.
I know your boys were sort of kind of interested. Are they getting more on the bandwagon now?
Well, I've got my oldest is into it, but my youngest, who does not care for sports, see, I drew him in with the snacks.
Well, sometimes if you fill the boy's belly.
Exactly. I had all the snacks he liked, so he came, and then he got hooked into it.
So that's just it, right? When you don't understand the game, and I think it's more about that communal effect of sharing it with other people at first, and then you make good memories, and then you want to be engaged because it brings up that feeling again. Actually, we had something about the psychology of that recently. So, but boy, the crowds. Did you see the guy with his shirt off, shaking his shirt? There was a lot of people that were so excited. Well, men anyway, that took their shirts off and were shaking their shirts. I was happy because Canadians don't do that.
Yeah, we got into it.
We don't do that. We're pretty reserved about things. There was no reservation in that stadium. When the people that were live watching it in California, it was shirts off, screaming. Everybody was there. And just to see a red and white, so proud of Canada.
So cool. And the way the game went, too, was, in some ways, the game itself was tense and nervous, but not a lot happening. The South Africans would kind of slow things up whenever they get the ball. Canada, not always making the passes they needed to make.
Right.
But then some pretty cool moments when near the end of the game, our captain, Alphonso Davies, finally comes out. We've been wondering when would we see him.
Right.
And it just seemed to really electrify the team. So he's out there. The Bayern Munich star gets his first minutes playing. And then right in the stoppage time, so the official clock is 90 minutes has passed. Right. We're into the stoppage time, and that's when Stefan Eustáquio scores and sends us to the win, which means we go to the stage of the knockout round, which is next, which is the group of 16. Saturday at 10 a.m.
Okay.
That's the one we're going to play. We don't know who will play yet. That's going to be determined tonight.
Because that's another exciting facet of it. It's who's going to be our date for that game?
Yeah, it's either the Netherlands or Morocco. So those two teams will play tonight. The winner of that goes on to play Canada in that group of 16 knockout phase on Saturday at 10. So that's where we're at.
Okay, so we won't have to wait long to find out who we're going to be up against.
It's also nice that it's a Saturday as well. It's a good time for a bit of a soccer party.
For the weekend, absolutely. Yeah. And especially coming out of Canada Day, I think our patriotism is a notch higher with all this going on.
I saw somebody online saying since our Team Canada game is on July the 4th, which is Saturday, which is the American Independence Day, that maybe we should just swap this year. We'll do Independence Day on July 1st. We'll do Canada Day on July 4th.
Yeah.
Just this year. Let's switch.
That's pretty smart. I don't know if they go for it.
No, probably not.
White House would probably have something to say about that.
Yeah. No, probably.
No, Canada.
Yeah. Team Canada in action yesterday was one of the big highlights of a great weekend. Jazz Fest was on, of course. I managed to make it out to the Bullen Park field on Saturday. It was fantastic. I love the outdoor section of Jazz Fest, which for the last couple of years they've been doing at Bullen Park, which is in Esquimalt near the Archie Browning Arena. Just a great atmosphere. Everybody dancing. It was nice to see people. Victorians don't always get up and, at least if you go to the theaters, sometimes we sit and we watch. But
we don't want to block anyone's view.
Yeah,
You're being polite.
But this is an outdoor festival. Just tons of people out dancing, have a great time. Great to see. We had I didn't go to this one, but the Canada Day Bash that was held in Langford took place with Our Lady Peace playing, the Tea Party. That's right. Some local bands as well. So great big weekend. Did you check any of it out? Let us know how it all went for you. I'd love to hear your review of all of these events if you took them in. You can send us a text at 71010, but I'm conscious of the clock, and I do have to get something in before we run out of time. We need to announce something that we will be doing here on the radio station all this summer that you can take part in. In fact, you can win pretty big because of this. And so can children all across Greater Victoria. Let me tell you about something.
Big win, bigger impact.
Kids Count Mega Summer 50-50.
That's what I'm talking about. So we've got this 50-50 draw that we're launching right here, right now.
Love it.
On CFAX 1070, as well as our sister stations. We got 107.3 Virgin Radio and CTV Vancouver Island all taking part here. It's a 50-50 draw. It's pretty easy to explain. If you go to CFAXSantas.com, in fact, I think it's live right now. I'm just checking it out, and you can see it right there. You can buy a 50-50 ticket or a bunch. Buy as many as you want. Where you go to a baseball game, you go to a hockey game.
Well, that's what I was just thinking. It's always for the sporting events, but this is wonderful that we can do it for a local charity.
They're doing it at Jazz Fest. You put your money into the pot, and at the end of the day, they draw a ticket, and the winner gets half the money, however much is raised.
Okay.
And charity, in this case, CFAX Santa's Anonymous and the Kids Count program, which is helping people around Greater Victoria beyond Christmas. Yeah. That's Kids Count. They'll get the other half.
Okay, so when does it go till?
It is going to go until it's a couple months. We got August.
Oh, good. Okay.
It's not ending tomorrow. In fact, if you go to the website and you go to the Kids Count site, you will see the
the details.
You see the countdown. Give. This is big countdown going.
Good.
So check it out. CFAXSantas.com. It's going to launch today.
Okay.
6:30 News is next.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island. Downtown Victoria is alive with free soccer-themed events, live match screenings, and more. Details at downtownvictoria.ca. Celebrate summer at the 59th Annual Saanich Strawberry Festival, Sunday, July 5th, 11 to 4 p.m. at Beaver Beach at Beaver Lake Regional Park. Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, 6:30 on this Monday, June 29th. We're looking at a mix of sun and cloud for today. Highs eventually to hit about 20 degrees. I got 14 as our official temperature at the airport right now. Let's get to the news. Here's Lisa Best.
Thanks, Ryan. Good morning. A rich supply of food and conservation efforts have made Vancouver and the surrounding Salish Sea a festival ground for whale spotting recently. UBC marine biologist Julia Adelsheim says the visibility of gray whales points to a problem, though, with their food supply elsewhere.
Typically, gray whales don't always come in so far, like the one that was in downtown Vancouver. That tends to be a sign that they're really, really hungry and sort of need to stop off to eat something on their way up to Alaska.
Officials say the Fisheries Department has so far found 10 dead gray whales off BC's coast. At least 2 of the whales found this year were described in an extremely emaciated condition. Canada is pushing for safe, equitable adoption of artificial intelligence at the United Nations, where our ambassador to the world's body says AI is a significant priority for his team.
David Lametti says he spends 10 to 15% of his time working on AI governance.
I think the UN has to play a role there. It's the only place in the world where 194 countries can speak with 5 or 6 massive companies that have a great deal of compute power and a great deal of resources to push AI development forward.
Lametti says countries generally agree on the need for safety in AI, but he says emerging countries are particularly concerned they might be left behind if they're not part of crafting how AI is used. John Kennedy, The Canadian Press.
It was a nail-biter all the way to the end, with the only goal coming from Steven Asasio in extra time this morning. Canada's still buzzing about that 1-0 win over South Africa.
Advance to the round of 16 at the World Cup. It is a first ever knockout round win.
It meant so much to the players, in tears on the field as they celebrated the win. And Canada's sporting history is shifting. CTV's Andrew Johnson caught up with some of the many Canadian fans who took in yesterday's history-making game in LA.
We might not experience this again in our lifetime.
We left Cambridge, drove to Buffalo, went from Buffalo down to Dallas, Dallas to here.
A goal to send Canada to the round of 16 sent emotional fans streaming out of the stadium.
I may have shed a tear. It was amazing.
The shot, the corner, the win. It all happened so fast.
That next match for Canada in Texas on July 4th will not be an easy one. They'll face either Morocco or the Netherlands, 2 heavyweights ranked in the world's top 10.
We'll find that decision out soon enough, though. Those 2 heavyweights face off tonight to determine who Canada will face. Their round of 16 match now set for 10 Saturday morning. Perfect time to view. The Princess of Wales should be called the Princess of Rock. She has scaled the 3 highest peaks in the UK, all in one day.
Kate Middleton climbed these 3 high peaks in 24 hours, 10,000 vertical feet total, raising money for holistic cancer treatment.
Lots of people have asked me why I'm doing this challenge, and partly it's personal. I'm so grateful to be here, to be strong enough to walk these hills. But more importantly, it's to give something back.
The princess says she knows personally how difficult the challenge is for those living with cancer and for those who have survived it. Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
At the box office, Supergirl wasn't super enough to leap over the #1 spot this weekend.
Toy Story 5 picked up another $70 million in its second weekend, topping the box office after making the strongest debut of the year last weekend.
This does not look like this is going to end well.
Supergirl was this weekend's big new release, but only managed to collect $38 million, below what Warner Brothers had been projecting.
I wish Nikki Freeman loved me more than anyone in the entire world.
And the low-budget horror hit Obsession took in just under $10 million 7 weeks into its run. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
That is your CFAX News to 6:35. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question. Do you agree with the province's plan to omit Vancouver in the purchase of 2,200 condos for rent-to-own opportunities? 52% say yes. You can vote at CFAX1070.com or on the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa Best, your news time, 6:36.
Thank you, Lisa. CFAX Morning Show is brought to you by Bluebird Cabs. Need a cab? Download the Bluebird Cabs app at Bluebird Cabs Ltd. They're proudly local, Canadian-owned and run since 1946. The weather forecast is looking like a mix of sun and cloud today. Temperatures eventually getting to about 20 degrees. We'll get you a full forecast in a moment. Right now, over to the sports. Locally, so much going on in lacrosse. Victoria Shamrocks continue their road trip with a 15-6 win over the Maple Ridge Burrards last night. That was a bit of a course correction for the Shamrocks after they had their 5-game winning streak snapped earlier in the weekend on Friday night as the Burnaby Lakers escaped with a 10-9 overtime win at the Bill Copeland Arena. But yeah, then the Shamrocks turned it around and had that win last night. The Victoria Harpercats baseball team came up short in the third of a 3-game series against the Bellingham Bells that was played at home at Royal Athletic Park, Wilson's Group Stadium. It was a 10-2 win for Bellingham yesterday after Victoria took the first 2 games. The Cats will now regroup today before they host the Nanaimo Night Owls tomorrow, 6:35 for a 3-game set that they're going to take on there. Now over to the soccer. Team Canada will be watching tonight's round of 32 World Cup knockout match between Morocco and the Netherlands with special interest because they will go on to play Canada Saturday in Houston in the round of 16. Of course, Stefan Eustáquio scored this in the second minute of second half stoppage time yesterday in Los Angeles as Canada edged South Africa 1-0 in the first knockout game of the World Cup. It was kind of nice that Canada was the only one playing. It was like they all focused that day yesterday was on Canada, South Africa. There are 3 knockout matches at the World Cup today, including the early showdown in Houston between Group C winner Brazil and Group F runner-up Japan. Group E winner Germany will play Group D's third place Paraguay, and Group C runner-up Morocco, as we just mentioned, and the Netherlands, winner of Group F, will square off in Mexico. And then over to the Blue Jays. Toronto hoping to snap a 6-game losing streak tonight when they open up a 3-game series against the visiting New York Mets. Right-hander Trey Savage will start on the hill for the Jays, who are now 6 games below 500 and have lost 6 of 7 in their current homestand. Oh, and Wimbledon gets underway. The Wimbledon Championships of tennis in the men's singles. We've got Felix Auger-Aliassime of Montreal playing, while Denis Shapovalov. Oh, man. It's too early for his name today. He is also in action. Shapovalov is how you say Denis Shapovalov's name as he plays at Wimbledon today. That is your CFAX 1070 Sports at 6:39. CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps for a comfortable home, nomad of the season, and big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps, designed for comfort, the South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. Still no crashes or accidents to mention right now. We are looking at a pretty clear morning. In fact, this is probably one of those weeks where a lot of folks are going to be off. I'm going to bet that the commuting volume and the West Shore commute is going to be lighter than usual this week, and maybe we're starting to see that shape up already as it's clear as a bell out there right now. There will be paving work, though, on Cook Street, just north of Hillside. So Hillside up to, a couple blocks north of Hillside is where you're going to see the paving work there starting at 7 this morning. It'll cause some major delays for that stretch. Maybe just avoid that bit of Cook if you can. And in the weather forecast, we're looking at a mix of sun and cloud today, highs of 20, maybe a bit of breeze off the water, especially in these morning hours. Tonight, few clouds, lows down to 12. Tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds, still a little bit of breeze here and there, highs of 19. Then it clouds over for our Canada Day. We could see the odd sunny break, but kind of overcast for Canada Day, but it looks like it stays dry at least, high of 18. Then for Thursday, that's where we get a chance of showers in to the mix. Friday, it's just cloudy with the rain drying up if we do see any. It's just a chance of scattered showers. It does get sunny again for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, looking like they really clear up. Right now in Oak Bay, the temperature is 13 degrees, and in Langford, it is 12 degrees. On the markets, North American stock markets just opening, still awaiting those first results of the day. So I'll tell you how it closed off on Friday. We saw the S&P TSX up 129 to 34,980. The Dow dropped 44 points to 51,876. The NASDAQ was down 60, I should say, to 25,297. And the Canadian dollar at 70.4 cents US.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Getting into the garden.
Well, this ought to be good.
It's very creative. With Ryan and Lisa.
Wow.
Yes, we are getting into the garden with Fiona Hammersley Chambers from A Chosen Farm, joining us on the line as she often does on a Monday morning. How you doing, Fiona?
We're good. We've just been loving this rain.
Yeah, we had rain at the end of last week, and we might be seeing more at the end of this week. So I guess for a farmer, this is good news.
Very good news.
Well, we're going to talk all about rain and how to deal with it in the garden in a few moments. So that's kind of the main topic for today. But you mind if we dip into the listener mailbag here and ask you a question that one of our listeners sent in to kick things off?
Sure. What do we got for this week?
Okay, so Texter writes, would you please ask Fiona if she has ever grown loganberries? I picked up a loganberry plant and vines, and within a day, a few of the leaves turned brown and crispy. I watered and was careful not to wet the leaves, looking for advice. So that's from one of our listeners asking about loganberries.
Loganberry, great fruit named after Judge Logan, who originally had it as a sport in his garden, I believe back in the 1800s, actually. And growing up, we had loganberries as a kid, and they were a fabulous fruit, way better than your bog standard raspberry or blackberry. So for those folks who haven't grown loganberries yet, I would really encourage you to find them. What could cause leaves to go brown? Well, without a photo, it's a little difficult to tell. I will say, if you're getting your plants from a reputable nursery, they should do a process called hardening them off before they put them out in the retail area. Life gets busy, you got a big shipment. That doesn't always happen. So it's always a good habit when you buy something from a nursery to put it in an area where it's going to harden off. So it's going to get a bit of a suntan before you plant it out. And the sound of it, I think maybe that's what happened, that some of the leaves have gone brown and crispy. It's like you or me going to Hawaii in January, right? If we don't get a suntan slowly or put on some sunscreen, we're going to burn. And plants do the same thing. If they're growing up in a greenhouse, which a lot of these commercial products are, then they're not hardened off, and they're going to burn. And the tissues are kind of soft. And that's probably what might have happened here. I would keep an eye on it, and if it continues to do that kind of thing, then maybe you have a disease issue, and that's a bigger problem.
What do they taste like, and what do you use them for?
Oh, they're about 3 to 4 times the size of a raspberry. They're a rubus. So rubus is the Latin grouping of a number of berries like raspberries, blackberries, tayberries, marionberries, loganberries. Those are all rubus. Our black-cap raspberry, which is a lovely native fruit, is also a rubus. So you can use loganberries for anything, really, that you would use something like a raspberry or blackberry in. But they're just more flavorful. They're just a wonderful fruit.
And do they taste like raspberry, blackberry?
Yeah, but a more complex flavor. They really are a superb fruit. I don't know why we don't grow them more often. They're vine canes, so you need to give them some support to grow up.
Makes sense. Like a raspberry bush.
Yeah, except the canes are longer and more supple.
Oh, okay.
So they do need a bit more support.
Do they have thorns the way blackberries and raspberry bushes have?
Yes.
Okay. So very similar that way.
But they're worth it.
Worth the trouble.
Big
Okay.
fan of them. Okay.
Well, listener writing in about loganberries, just a few issues with the one that they're trying to grow. And hopefully that helps, listener. You can always text us for a follow-up and give it a try. Let us know how it goes. We would love an update as you try to get through your loganberry problems. We're talking to Fiona Hammersley-Chambers from A Chosen Farm. And hang on, Fiona, we're just going to get Lisa to give us the news headlines. When we get back, we can pick this up. We can also get to rain as a topic. After last week, we saw a bit of that. And maybe in the long-range forecast, we could see it come back at the end of this week. So we'll get into that in just a moment here after you, Lisa.
Thanks, Ryan, and good morning. A heavy police presence continues in the area near William Head Institution in Metchosin. West RCMP asking residents to remain vigilant as the search continues for a 69-year-old inmate who escaped yesterday. Police were called around 1 Sunday afternoon after Ernest Jensen went missing from the facility's midday count. He is considered dangerous. Jensen, described as white, bald, 5'8", with a heavy build, broad nose, heavy features. West Shore RCMP has been conducting extensive patrols with police dogs. RCMP Air Services also called in to view the ground from above. If you see anyone who matches this description, if you have any information about Ernest Jensen's whereabouts, call 911. Do not approach. A federal study prepared for the Order of Canada Advisory Council says some Indigenous people are wary of it. The April presentation says recent feedback shows that accepting the Order of Canada could bring feelings of discomfort or shame for some Indigenous people due to the honor colonial associations have. The Privy Council's Office Impact and the Innovation Unit has been working with the Office of the Secretary of the Governor-General and the Rita Hall Foundation to learn more about public awareness of the Order of Canada. And across the pond, Britain's presumptive next Prime Minister has laid out his economic vision for the country. Andy Burnham pledged today to give away a chunk of his power by handing greater autonomy to the local leaders as a circuit breaker for the rigid British state. Burnham says growth can only be nurtured from the bottom up instead of being ordered from the bottom down. The former mayor of Manchester won a special election for a seat in Parliament on June 18th. After being sworn in as lawmaker on June 22nd, the same day Keir Starmer announced he's resigning as the Prime Minister of Britain. That's your news to 6:49.
We'll be back in the garden with Fiona in just a moment. Traffic and weather, too, next.
This summer, 3 of Vancouver Island's biggest voices are coming together to make a real difference.
Get your tickets now for the Kids Count Mega Summer 50-50.
Brought to you by 107.3 Virgin Radio, CFAX 1070, and CTV.
In support of CFAX Santa's Anonymous all-new Kids Count program, supporting children beyond Christmas.
The Mega Summer 50-50.
Your chance to win big while giving back.
Buy your tickets today at CFAX1070.com.
Gaming event license 174660.
CFAX 1070 Morning Show brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Summerfest is on now, and Thrifty Kitchen's Kebab set the stage for your summer barbecue. Choose from up to 8 ready-to-grill varieties. On the roads, here's another bit of construction to mention. Gas line installation. Texter letting us know, and thank you, Texter, for this. The Caledonia will be closed today. Only local traffic allowed because of the gas line installation. That's on Caledonia, kind of near Cook Street there. For the weather forecast, we are looking at a mainly cloudy day, but maybe some sunshine by later into the day. So a mix of sun and cloud eventually, but starting off with some clouds. Highs eventually to hit 20 degrees, and right now we are sitting at about 14, at least that's the official temperature for Greater Victoria. A few clouds tonight, lows to 12, another mix of sun and cloud tomorrow, highs of 19, and Canada Day Wednesday, overcast but dry with a chance of showers creeping in on Thursday.
The best way to start an island morning. Ryan and Lisa on CFAX 1070.
Starting with Fiona Hammersley-Chambers, who's been holding on the line after discussing loganberries for one of our listeners who had some questions about that. Any final thoughts on that before we move on to rain?
Well, I was just going to say, if you've got something like a raspberry, loganberry, kayberry, marionberry in your garden, and it's inevitable that some of the fruit gets eaten by a bird, and you'll eventually see that they're little, what we call sports in the horticultural world. And those are plants that are just self-seeded, coming up on their own. So keep your eyes out for those sports, because these plants don't generally breed true from seed. So when you see a sport growing in your garden that looks like it's a kind of blackberry or raspberry type, I would keep an eye on that. And then eventually we pot them up and put them in an area in our nursery, because those will eventually be an entirely new berry variety, and you can end up with some really interesting stuff.
What's the word you're saying? Sport?
As in sport?
Sport. Yeah, like sports.
Okay.
Huh.
Sport.
Interesting.
And it's a what again? It does what?
Well, it's just something that's self-seeded.
Huh.
So you didn't necessarily plant it, and often it's something that has cross-pollinated.
Oh, okay. Sport.
So, for example, we have 2 new elderberry varieties here at the farm, and they're an interesting cross between a purple-leaved sort of more ornamental elderberry and some of the more culinary ones like the European black elderberry. So we're very excited about the fruit and the colorful foliage, because it's a wonderful multi-purpose plant. But we didn't breed that per se. We're just noticing these anomalies in the garden, and we're like, oh, here's an elderberry sport coming up in a bed where it's not supposed to be, because we didn't plant it there. Let's flag it, and we use flagging tape, by the way.
Oh, and you're like, this could be interesting. Pay attention to this.
Don't step on it.
Yeah, and you know, we've lost so much of our food diversity. It's really important to start bringing some of this back, and it's as easy as just keeping your eye out for those anomalies in your garden.
Huh. Question about that. These sports and these anomalies you find in the garden, are they usually better growers in the end? Something that's sort of just propagated on its own?
They very well can be, yes. Not necessarily, but there's a good chance that they will be. And that's how you used to get new varieties of things, right? People didn't sit there with a paintbrush in the 1200s and mix this with that. But when they started growing more domestic plants, there's inevitably variation within your population. And if you trade some beans with a neighboring community and it's a different kind of bean, and they are what we call compatible, then they can cross-pollinate, and you end up with an entirely new bean variety.
Wow, that's so cool. Yeah.
Very cool.
Need to have those adventures with the plants that might come your way. Let's get to the rain, though. So late last week, we saw a little bit Thursday night into Friday. How did that go for you, and what has that got you kind of thinking as we get into the garden?
Well, we loved it, very much so. We're looking forward to a bit more, in fact. It was a little tough because we did have some dry seed crops like the kale and the woad that needed to come in quickly as the rain hit, but we managed it. And, yeah, we're very happy when it rains. We're the party poopers at the summer barbecues because everyone else wants it to be sunny, and we're like, no, let it rain.
You mentioned something about the adding humidity. Even if it's just a smattering of rain, it changes the amount of humidity in the air?
It does, and that's actually really important. So counterintuitively, one of the best times for you to be watering is when it's raining.
Really?
Is that because the water kind of like pre-soaks the ground and makes it more kind of welcoming of more moisture?
Yes. So if you have ever had your soil in your garden or a planter pot even get really dry, what you'll see is that becomes what's called hydrophobic. So it creates a sort of barrier between the soil and the water, in that the top layer acts more like an umbrella and doesn't actually let the water soak in. So when you get rain, you've got humidity in the air. So if you are overhead watering, you're going to lose much less, if none, water to the sun and the wind. The other thing that's going to happen is that because that top layer of soil is moist, whatever watering you do is able to soak down a lot deeper. And that's really important. I keep saying to folks to water less often and water more deeply, because then the roots of your plants are going to go down looking for that water. If you water regularly and you just water very shallow, then that's where the roots of the plants are going to go, and they actually are more susceptible to drying out at that point.
So with that in mind, this is a great time to do it when it's actually a little more humid in the air, a little more moisture in both the air and on the ground. Maybe give the garden that deep watering.
Absolutely. And just take a little trowel or a shovel and make a little hole and see how far did that water go down. You might think because it's been raining that your garden looks wet, and it certainly smells wet and fresh. But if you dig down into the soil, you might find it's only gone down half a centimeter.
By the way, if you're hearing all this extraneous noise, what are you doing right now?
Oh, we're planting potatoes.
Nice.
We're a little late getting some of the potato genetics in, and then my farm team's chatting, so I've moved away, and I'm actually pulling out some thistles that are growing where we don't want them.
Always busy.
Well, we'll let you get back to it, but I got one last text message to read to you, Fiona, before we close for today. A texter says, "Good morning, Ryan and Lisa. Please thank Fiona. The plants I started from seeds purchased at Machosen Farm are incredible. The Hawaiian currant tomato plants are almost 5 feet tall," and that comes from a listener named Chris.
Cool.
Aw, fabulous. Thank you. We really love hearing that. That's one of the things that keeps us going on the wet and not so nice days.
Well, we'll let you get back to hopefully a nice day today, Fiona. Thank you so much. We'll talk again next week.
Okay, sounds good.
Take care.
Quick break. We've got the 7 o'clock news with Lisa next.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, 7 o'clock on this Monday, June 29th. A little overcast to start, but we will see some sunny breaks today with a high getting to 20. Right now, it is 14. Full forecast to come right now. The news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
I mentioned again a heavy police presence continues in the area near William Head Institution in Machosen and West Shore. RCMP alerting the public yesterday and residents in the area to remain vigilant as the search continued for a 69-year-old inmate who escaped yesterday. Police called around 1 Sunday afternoon after Ernest Jensen missed the facility's midday count. He is considered dangerous. Jensen is white, bald, 5'8", with a heavy build, a broad nose, and heavy features. West Shore CMP have been conducting extensive patrols with police dogs through the area. Air Service is also conducting police air patrols. If you see anything or have any information regarding this person's whereabouts, you can call 911. If you see someone who looks like Ernest Jensen, do not approach. Search and rescue officials say 6 people still unaccounted for in the waters off Vancouver Airport. The Canadian Armed Forces say the Joint Rescue Coordination Centre here in Victoria was alerted just before noon Sunday about several people in the water without flotation devices. Military officials say this occurred about 10 nautical miles southwest of the Vancouver International Airport. 4 people were rescued around 3 Sunday afternoon. They were taken to hospital. Search continues this hour for the other 6 that are still missing. Still in the waters, a rich supply of food and conservation efforts have made this area and the surrounding Salish Sea a festival ground for whale spotting. UBC marine biologist Julia Adelsheim says one reason for the surge in sighting of orca and humpback, among the other species, is the use of social media by whale spotting groups.
But part of it is that there actually are a lot more whales in the area this time of year. A lot of it is it's just the seasonality of the Salish Sea and our marine environment. It really peaks in the summer when we have a lot of sun.
Julia says the sun broadens the aquatic food pyramid, which means more fish and more seals, which ultimately attracts more bigger fish, the orcas. A program brought about during the pandemic could cause financial headaches for Victoria's service industry. CFAX 1070's Koch Cotton has details.
A planned rate hike for Victoria hospitality businesses could lead to fewer operators renewing their licences, warns City Director of Engineering and Public Works, William Doyle. The City of Victoria is set to raise the outdoor patio programme's fee following a pause to staggered increases last year amid a volatile economic environment that was already putting pressure on the hospitality sector. Based on the current schedule in the bylaw, rates for next year would double from what was paid in 2026. Council will hear a recommendation this week to remove any further increases to the fee. Koch Cadden, CFAX 1070 News.
Canada pushing for safe, equitable adoption of artificial intelligence at the United Nations, where Ottawa's ambassador says AI is a significant priority for his team. David Lametti says he spends 10 to 15% of his time working on AI governance.
The idea of AI governance and AI security are critically important moving forward. I think the UN has to play a role there. It's the only place in the world where 194 countries can speak with 5 or 6 massive companies that have, a great deal of compute power and a great deal of resources to push AI development forward.
Lametti says countries generally agree on the need for safety in AI, but he says emerging countries are particularly concerned that they might be left behind if they're not a part of crafting on how it's actually used. And more evidence on the strength of solar weather patterns. 2 active space telescopes have been driven down into precariously low orbits by eruptions from the sun. ABC's Jim Ryan tells us what NASA intends to do about it.
To keep it from plunging out of orbit and burning up in Earth's atmosphere, the Swift Space Telescope needs a lift. Enter a 3-armed robot built by a startup company called Catalyst Space.
It has tremendous amounts of maneuverability.
Catalyst founder Gan He Lee says the mission is clear.
To push this multi-ton, $500 million satellite back up higher in altitude.
Catalyst has offered NASA no guarantees that this first-of-its-kind mission will be successful. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
That's your CFAX News to 7:05. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question. Do you agree with the province's plan to omit Vancouver in the purchase of 2,200 condos for rent-to-own opportunities? 52% say yes. You can vote now at CFAX1070.com or in the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best, your news time, 7:06.
Thank you, Lisa. Let's take a quick look at the weather. Overcast to start. We will see some sunny breaks later today. It's 14 degrees right now in Victoria. We'll get you a full forecast shortly, including what's to come on Wednesday for Canada Day. But right now, let's talk about the sports. In local lacrosse, Victoria's Shamrocks on the road again last night with a 15-6 win over the Maple Ridge Burrards. It came after the Shamrocks had their 5-game winning streak snapped on Friday night as the Burnaby Lakers got the 10-9 overtime win, also on the road for the Shamrocks there. The Victoria Harbour Cats played a 3-game set against the Bellingham Bells at home at the Wilson's Group Stadium, Royal Athletic Park. Yesterday, it was a 10-2 loss for Victoria at the hands of Bellingham, but Victoria won the first 2 games, so they take the series. We've got a day off today before the Harbour Cats host the Nanaimo Night Owls again. They just saw them last week, and we're getting them back in town. They'll be at 6:35 tomorrow night for the first of a 3-game set over the Canada Day period here. Okay, let's talk about Blue Jays baseball, since we're talking baseball. They're hoping to snap a 6-game losing streak tonight when they open up a 3-game series against the visiting New York Mets. Right-hander Trey Savage starting for the Jays. And there are a bunch of stuff, or there is a bunch of stuff happening for the World Cup of Soccer. Let's talk about this. So, Team Canada, who, of course, just had that big historic win yesterday over South Africa, 1-0. We'll be watching closely to tonight's round of 32 knockout match between Morocco and the Netherlands, because the winner of that one today goes on to play Canada in the round of 16, the next stage of this knockout phase of the World Cup. That's Saturday at 10. So Canada knows they'll be there. Who's going to meet them? It's either Morocco or the Netherlands, depending on today's game. There's a few other knockout matches as well to point out. We have an early showdown in Houston between Group C winner Brazil and Group F runner-up Japan. The Group E winner Germany will play Group D's third place finisher Paraguay. So those games are going on, as well as the Morocco-Netherlands game. And we've got Wimbledon getting underway today. In men's singles, Felix Auger-Aliassime is playing in Montreal, while Denis Shapovalov of Richmond Hill, Ontario is also in action. And that is your CFAX Sports 2709. The CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Summerfest is on now, and Thrifty Kitchen's Kebabs set the stage for your summer barbecue. Choose from up to 8 ready-to-grill varieties. Okay, on the roads, no crashes or accidents. We do have that paving work now in effect on Cook Street. This is from Hillside North to Summit Avenue. It's going to be going on from now until 7 p.m. tonight, and this is every day this week other than Canada Day. They'll be taking that day off. But yeah, milling and paving work going on there. They did start some of this yesterday as well. Kind of roughly in the same area. So if you saw that yesterday, this is kind of more of the same. Watch out for that. And then for the BC Ferries, no sailing waits right now. The 7 o'clock sailing just left with room left on it. The 8 o'clock is next. In the weather forecast, lots to unpack here because this is Canada Day week, and you're probably wondering what's going to be going on for Canada Day week. Well, today and tomorrow, mix of sun and cloud. I know today we're sort of starting off on the cloudy side, but we will see some sunny breaks today. Same with tomorrow. Temperatures both days to top out around about 20 degrees. Right now we're sitting around 14. For Wednesday, it clouds over. It's going to look a little bit overcast with highs of 18 degrees. Might see a peek at the sun here and there, but mostly on the cloudy side. leading towards a chance of showers on Thursday. But Canada Day, Wednesday itself looks like at the moment it stays dry with any of the precipitation coming Thursday. Friday dries up, it stays cloudy. Saturday and Sunday is where we clear up into some sunshine and temperatures start to climb. We'll start to see temperatures into the mid-20s by Saturday, Sunday. Right now in Victoria, like I mentioned, it's about 14 degrees. Well, we're starting to get our first look at the market results for today as North American stock markets are open. S&P TSX down 39 to start to 34,940. The Dow Jones leaping up to begin with, up 343 already to 52,219. And the NASDAQ is up 371 to 25,669. Canadian dollar at 70.4 cents US, which is down just a little bit from the close on Friday.
Get started.
Start your day informed and entertained. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Did you know you can now follow CFAX 1070 on YouTube, of all places? You can find us there. You can actually watch this very show and see Lisa and I on the cameras if you want to stream it live on YouTube, or you can watch repeat highlight clips from the show that are posted there. So if you find us on YouTube, give us a like and subscribe. We would love to get you to click that subscribe button, as the kids say.
I like it.
Yeah, smash that like button.
Is that what you do? You smash it.
Smash that like button.
Okay. So
like
if they don't pay for their computers, you can smash it.
There you go.
Means nothing.
It's been a lot of fun experimenting with the YouTube page and putting up the videos. You know, it's radio, but on video. That's what it is.
Funny that.
Yeah. Hey, we got lots to give away today, by the way. Let me let you know about this. So we are going to be getting you hyped up for soccer. Not the World Cup, but hey, if you've been watching the World Cup games, if you've been watching Canada do things like make it further than they've ever done before, and you kind of got that soccer fever, well, of course, Pacific FC, our local team, is going to be coming off of their sort of World Cup break this coming weekend. Pacific FC takes on the Halifax Wanderers. This is coming up July 5th at 3 p.m. Starlight Stadium. Tickets are on sale now, but we're going to be giving away a 4-pack of tickets. This isn't a pair of tickets. It's a 4-pack of tickets every day this week other than Canada Day. We're going to be doing something different on Canada Day, but for the other days this week, we will be giving you a chance to win, including today. So stay tuned for your cue to call and win those tickets. Maybe a little later this hour, I think we're going to do that.
Treat
yeah,
a
little
nation's
treat.
birthday.
So that is something you can win right here on the program today and all this week. And also just letting you know that we have launched a 50-50 draw right here on CFAX 1070 in support of CFAX Santa's Anonymous and the Kids Count program. This is the Mega Summer 50-50. And if you go to the CFAX1070.com website and you go to contests, so you can go to a little like navigation tree, go to contests. It's right there. And you click on that, and then it'll take you to the page. You can buy a 50-50 ticket, or you can buy a bunch. And at the end of summer, later in August, we are going to do a draw, and somebody will get half of the pot. You know, it's typical 50-50 stuff. And then CFAX Santa's Anonymous and their Kids Count program, helping kids beyond Christmas, will get the other half.
I like it.
So you could win. You can also help charity.
Win a lot of cash.
There's a lot going on here. By the way, a single ticket is $10. 5 tickets is $25. A 20-pack is going to cost you $50. The Mega Summer 50-50. Right now, let's get to the headlines. Here's Lisa.
A landmark private members' bill has passed in Parliament, and it has a deep local connection. The new law will close sentencing gap for Canada's most aggravated murders. Cowichan and Malahat Langford MP Jeff Kibble says Bill C-235 amends the criminal code to allow judges to extend parole eligibility beyond the standard 25 years to a maximum of 40 years, where an offender has been convicted of abduction, sexual assault, and the murder of the same victim. The extension is discretionary, requires jury recommendation, and is subject to judicial oversight at every step. The bill was inspired in part by a local family, specifically the case of Kimberly Proctor, the 18-year-old from Langford, who was abducted, tortured, sexually assaulted, and murdered by a couple of her classmates 15 years ago. Kimberly's family has since been required to attend parole hearings on a reoccurring basis. That's an ongoing burden that the bill is designed to address. Ford is recalling thousands of F-150 trucks in Canada for a second time after warning that repairs completed during an earlier safety recall may not have been done correctly. It requires owners to return to the dealership for another tweak. The recall affects 12,774 units between 2018 and 2020 model years. The automaker says the repairs carried out earlier may not have been done correctly, so you'll have to call your dealership again. And Canada's United Nations Ambassador David Lametti says artificial intelligence takes up a lot of his time, between 10 to 15% since he took the role in last November. He says there's definitely alignment on the need for AI safety, as well as concerns from emerging countries that they may be left in the dust, particularly those in Asia. Lametti says AI governance is something that the UN has to do, has a responsibility to take care of. And that is your news to 7:16.
Well, school's officially out, of course, last week, the final days for school kids across Greater Victoria. So this week, we're going to spend some time catching up with local district superintendents to kind of review how these last school years went, what could be ahead of us. I mean, there's been a lot to talk about, a lot of tough budget decisions for school boards, for instance, dominating the news in Victoria, but also the Saanich school. Souk school districts as well, all feeling the price pinch in some way. But a lot of other things going on as well. So we're going to be reaching out to superintendents. Paul Block from School District 62 is going to be joining us with a review for that district coming up in just a moment. So stand by for that. We'll also check traffic and weather. See a problem out there? Let us know at 71010. It's kind of the exact opposite right now, though. There's not much happening on the roads. See the fact that school's out. It's the week of Canada Day. I bet you a lot of folks are off this week, and we're seeing that play out on the roads with not a lot going on when it comes to sort of delays or volume out there. But if you do see something, let us know at 71010. CFAX traffic and weather. No crashes or problems like that. No volume delays to speak of right now. It's a fairly light commute kind of morning for the Greater Victoria area. If you see otherwise, text me at 71010. Paving work causing major disruptions on Cook Street, just north of Hillside. Watch out for that. That's going to be going until 7 p.m. today. It's on now. And at BC Ferries, no sailing waits. For the weather, it's a little cloudy to start. We should see some sunny breaks by later today. Highs of about 20 degrees expected. Partly cloudy tonight, lows to 12. A mix of sun and cloud for tomorrow. Highs of 19. Then it clouds over a bit on Wednesday. Chance of showers for Thursday. And Wednesday, by the way, is, of course, Canada Day. So we should stay dry there with the rain kind of holding off until the 2nd of July on Thursday. Overcast for Friday and then sun coming out Saturday and Sunday with temperatures starting to warm up too by the time we hit the weekend. Right now in Victoria here, the temperatures we're seeing, if you're in the Cordova Bay neighborhood, we're seeing 14 degrees right now. If you are in Colwood by the water, it's 13.
It's all here. News, weather, traffic, and community events. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Well, school is officially out all across Greater Victoria, whether it's the Saanich School District, the Greater Victoria School District, maybe the Sauk School District. Kids are all done, but we're still just going to wrap it up here as we reach out to the superintendents from the different districts. And Paul Block from District 62, that's the Sauk School District, is coming up right here, right now to do a little review of how it all went and think ahead to next year. Paul Block, how you doing?
I'm doing great this morning, Ryan. Thank you very much for the opportunity to come on the phone and talk to folks a little bit about what a great school year we had this year.
Before everybody checks out officially for the summer, let's take a look at this because it's kind of a big moment. I think, even people that don't have kids, I feel like, there's a bit of a flow to the year, and the kids getting out for summer is always a big moment in the year. So in your view, what were some of the district's standout accomplishments or developments this year?
Yeah, we had a fantastic year in terms of growth. Once again, being the fastest growing school district in the province, we grew this year a total of about 350 students. And next year, we're projecting to grow 225. So again, I think we're the third district left in the province that still continues to grow. And a reflection of that growth is the largest grad class that we have ever had. So we had almost 1,200 students this year graduate from our schools. And we had the largest Indigenous grad class that we have ever had in the school district. So those are fantastic numbers. A couple other things that happened this year. We had some amazing performances from our musical theaters, both at middle school and secondary. And a huge shout out to our athletics as we had multiple provincial champions this year, and as well as island regional champions in soccer, lacrosse, to name a few, as basketball as well. A big shout out to Edward Milne, who had a breakthrough year this year in athletics as well.
Now, you talked about the growing population of the student body there. How are you finding keeping up with that is going? I mean, we have seen new schools opening in the last few years, new ones on the way. Are you managing to keep up with the growth?
I think the way you just described it, Ryan, is the best way to put it, and that's managing. And I think we're doing the best that we can. I do want to celebrate at the end of this year is our first year of Chianos-Talika Elementary being open, and a fantastic addition to our suite of schools out in the Langford area. But to say the least, the majority of our schools are near full. Still to this day. So we continue to, really look hard at our projections and what the growth looks like across the entire district, making sure that we're following development along with trends of, migration and immigration moving both ways. I think the other big piece is we work hand in hand with our elected officials to make sure that we can get as many schools built as humanly possible. And I will say I'm pretty proud that in our district we've worked hard to avoid putting portables in place for the last couple of years, but it looks like we will be starting that again starting next year as our growth really is starting to get away from us, and we're going to have to start putting in temporary accommodations, as we affectionately call them.
And are there new schools on the horizon to help take that pressure off?
We certainly are. We are designing right now, just landed an architect studio hub to design our North Langford Secondary School, which is there on the north side of the highway in Langford, which is going to be a 2,000-seater secondary school. So I hope that when that opens in 2030, the plan is certainly to be able to balance the population in all of our West Shore secondary schools to a more reasonable level and have some room for growth as well for the next 10 years to come, at least at secondary.
Is that spot up there by the soccer field that's just that big empty lot right now?
No, that's the elementary school.
Oh, okay.
So that we hope to have an elementary school up there very soon. No, this is the lot beside Costco there. And that space in there, we have a space there for a secondary school and for a middle school. We've got the funding for the building of the secondary school, but not quite yet for the middle school.
Okay, so you got the lot, you just don't have the funding to build the school yet. All right, but
that's right.
I mean, that's just an example of all the things that are going on, though. You got all these possible schools coming up. You got portables coming out next year because you got the growth, and you mentioned you're like one of the only small handful of school districts in BC that are seeing growth like this.
That's right. To the best of my knowledge, there's only 3 districts left in the province that are growing, us, Langley, and Kelowna. Even the largest district in the province, Surrey, is actually declining in enrollment here. So as things are shifting a little bit with birth rates, and also the economy is shifting a little bit here, and we're seeing people move all across the country, that does affect our public schools and the number of kids that we have enrolled.
Something else I want to talk about that made the headlines for the Sauk School District over the course of the year was the school board scrapping a pilot project for early childhood educators. There was 11 positions eliminated, although I understand some of those positions were able to do other things. But the end of the pilot project prompted a lot of frustration from some parents, and just wanted to ask you about how that's gone and what do you think the pilot ending means for students in the district?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think to be frank, we got the reaction that we expected. And so, having ECEs in our classrooms is an incredible thing. It's something that we managed to be able to sustain on our own without provincial funding for 8 years. And we did that because we know that early intervention is very important and a crucial step in trying to address literacy and numeracy and social and emotional growth for kids. But unfortunately, just with the economics that we have right now, we just weren't able to sustain that without any stable funding from the province. So the trick now, or I would say the challenge for our school district, is now to find a way to fund that within the funding model that we currently have. And I think that's the work that we're going to be doing moving forward with our district. And yes, all those individuals that did lose their positions through that have been absorbed into other positions within the school district. So we're proud to say that no one's lost their position, but we certainly lost that service. And we need to take a look at how we can do that again differently in the future, again, with perhaps a different funding model.
Yeah, it just seems like there's one example, but there were school boards all across BC struggling with those budgets and trying to find what things to cut. Was it a music program here, or in this case, early childhood educators in the classrooms there? It does seem like funding is constantly a squeeze for school boards trying to make a go of it. Do you feel there's enough money coming from the province to really make these things work?
That's a tough question, Ryan. I think the province is doing the best that they can with what they have right now. I think also what could happen across the province that could help school districts is just changing the flexibility in terms of how we can use the funding. But I will always advocate for public education and suggest that we could use more. Certainly, if we want to take a look at some of the interventions that we need to do, what I would say in the early learning framework from 0 to 5 to help kids with readiness to enter into school, and then our primary years as well. Fundamental years for formative years, and I suggest that we give it more funding in those places for sure.
We're talking to Paul Block. He's superintendent of the Sauk School District. We're just kind of putting a cap on the school year as we head into summer. Last word to you, anything you want to let parents know or anybody else out there as we head into summer about, what's to come in September?
Absolutely. First of all, Ryan, I do want to thank our staff. 2,400 folks strong across the district did an incredible job this year. We service almost 15,000 kids and families. And I just want to give every one of our employees a nod for the great work that they do. And there's many of them that will continue to work with us through the summer to make sure that we have a world-class, top-notch system ready to go in September. I also want to, suggest and for all of our folks, keep their eyes open on elections coming up in October. We will have a new board, and so will every public school district in the province. And so let's get out and vote, and let's be involved in public education when that time comes around in October 26th. And lastly, I think the big thing coming up for our school district next year is with the opening of North Langford Secondary. We're going to be doing a catchment review of the entire district to take a look at where our kids are. As I spoke, we need to balance the populations between our secondary schools. And that means that we have to take a look at almost every single school in the district in terms of their catchment and re-envision that for the next 15 to 20 years. So that's a huge project that we're taking on next year.
Okay.
Other than that, I wish everybody a great summer, Ryan, and thank you again for this opportunity.
Well, have a good summer yourself, and we'll talk again soon.
Okay, you bet. Take care now.
7:30 News next on CFAX.
This summer, 3 of Vancouver Island's biggest voices are coming together to make a real difference.
Get your tickets now for the Kids Count Mega Summer 50/50.
Brought to you by 107.3 Virgin Radio, CFAX 1070, and CTV.
In support of CFAX Santa's Anonymous all-new Kids Count program, supporting children beyond Christmas.
The Mega Summer 50/50.
Your chance to win big while giving back.
Buy your tickets today at CFAX1070.com.
Gaming event license 174660. CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, 7:31 on Monday, June 29th. We're taking a look at eventually a mix of sun and cloud after we get through some morning overcast skies. Full forecast to come. Right now, the news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
Thanks, Ryan, and good morning. A heavy police presence continues in Metchosin around the area of William Head Institution. West Shores be asking residents in the area, anyone visiting, to remain vigilant as the search continues for a 69-year-old inmate who apparently escaped yesterday. Police were called Sunday afternoon after Ernest Jensen went missing during the midday count. He is considered dangerous. Ernest Jensen, described as white, bald, 5'8" with a heavy build, a broad nose, heavy features. West Shore CMP have been conducting extensive patrols with police dogs through the neighborhood, and there's air patrols happening too, so you might see flights overhead. If you have any information or you see someone who matches this description, call 911. Do not approach. A landmark private members' bill has passed in Parliament. The new law will close sentencing gaps for Canada's most aggravated murders. Cowichan Malahat Langford MP Jeff Kibble says Bill C-235 amends the criminal code to allow judges to extend parole eligibility beyond the standard 25 years to a maximum of 40 years. That's where an offender has been convicted of abduction, sexual assault, and murder of the same victim. The extension is discretionary, requires jury recommendation, and is also subject to judicial oversight at every step. But the bill was inspired in part by a local family, and specifically the case of Kimberly Proctor. She was the 18-year-old from Langford who was abducted, tortured, sexually assaulted, and murdered by her classmates 15 years ago. Kimberly's family has since been required to attend parole hearings on a reoccurring basis, an ongoing burden the bill is designed to address as well. Search and rescue crews say 6 people are still believed to be somewhere off the waters of Vancouver Island, those chilly waters. The Canadian Armed Forces say the Joint Rescue Coordination Centre here in Victoria was alerted around noon yesterday about several people in the water without flotation devices. Military officials say it happened about 10 nautical miles southwest of the Vancouver International Airport. 4 people were plucked from the water around 3 Sunday afternoon. The search continues for the other 6 who are still missing. A ceremony and procession held in James Bay yesterday, that marking the 5th anniversary of the hottest day locally in recent history. June 28th marked the 5th anniversary of the peak of the 2021 heat dome. That dome ended up killing at least 1,400 people across Western North America, including over 600 in this province, and there was a number of fatalities in the James Bay area. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is slamming the Prime Minister Mark Carney's so-called condo bailout in BC, where officials are converting vacant condo units into affordable homes. Here's CTV's Jeremy Sharon with the details.
We need a full investigation into the Carney condo bailout.
In a new letter to the House of Commons Ethics Committee, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is calling for an urgent meeting to investigate what he calls a plan to bail out developers, bankers, and investors.
Who asked for this? Who lobbied for this? And who is benefiting?
Last week, Carney said no developer asked for this from him directly.
I don't think we've done, myself included, a particularly good job of rolling this out and explaining exactly what it is.
Carney says the move is about affordability, not bailing anyone out. A BC wildfire update. We only have 20 active fires burning the province, a far cry from previous years at this time. 1 sparked in the last 24 hours, 1 considered out of control. That's on the mainland. No new fires on Vancouver Island to speak of. This is residents of a remote village in the Northwest Territories are heading to Yellowknife today after being forced to flee a wildfire in their neighborhood.
The roughly 1,300 residents of Fort Simpson were ordered out last night. Wildfire officials have said the fire is roughly 4 square kilometers in size and is burning just west of the village's airport. They say the fire hasn't grown toward the community, but dry conditions have made suppression a challenge. Village officials urge residents to flee to the multiplex arena in Yellowknife. Weather forecasters say daytime temperatures for the community will be around 29 degrees today. The evacuation comes days after a plane involved in fighting the fire went down, killing all 3 people aboard. Aaron Sousa, The Canadian Press.
And that is your news to 7:36. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question. Do you agree with the province's plan to omit Vancouver in the purchase of 2,200 condos for rent-to-own opportunities? Over 50% say yes. You can vote at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best, your news time, 7:37.
By the way, if you're interested in that topic, we're going to have Vancouver Sun reporter Alec Lazenby on the radio in the 8 o'clock hour, kind of unpacking how that story has continued to unfold. Not necessarily in the best way for the federal government or the BC government, as they continue to be kind of on the back foot trying to explain this condo buying program. So more of that in the 8 o'clock hour. Right now, we're getting to the sports. Where at the World Cup of Soccer, we are waiting to see who Canada will play now on Saturday, 10 o'clock. That is Canada's next game after we booked our ticket with that win in stoppage time over South Africa. 1-0 the score for Canada. Big moment, but who's next? Now that's what we're watching, because tonight the round of 32 World Cup knockout stage continues, and Morocco and Netherlands, they're the ones to watch. So they'll play. The winner of that one goes on to play Canada. Also, we've got a couple of other matches. Brazil will be playing Japan, and we've got Germany facing Paraguay. Those are the other matchups today in the knockout stage. For some local sports, Victoria Harbour Cats baseball team came up short in the third game of their series, falling 10-2 to the visiting Bellingham Bells yesterday in an afternoon game. They won the other two, though, over Bellingham, so Cats take the series 2-1. Just didn't quite get the sweep. The Cats will regroup today and then host Nanaimo Night Owls tomorrow at 6:35 for the first of a 3-game set. That's at Wilson's Group Stadium, Royal Athletic Park. In lacrosse, Victoria Shamrocks on the road with a 15-6 win over the Maple Ridge Burrards. Last night, it came as the Shamrocks' 5-game winning streak came to an end back on Friday night as the Burnaby Lakers got a 10-9 overtime win over the Shamrocks. And that's your CFAX Sports to 7:39. The CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps. For a big, comfortable home, no matter the season. Big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps, designed for comfort. The South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. Traffic continues to be lighter than usual. It is the week of Canada Day. I bet you there's a lot of people not commuting today, and it certainly looks like that. Trans-Canada Highway, clear. Souk Road / Island Highway, clear. Pat Bay Highway, nothing going on. Malahat, totally fine. We got nothing happening on the roads except for the big paving job on Cook Street, which is causing major obstructions to Cook Street just north of Hillside. So watch out for that, but at least there's not as much going on for the commute. BC Ferries, no sailing weights, and then the weather forecast. We're starting off cloudy. We might see some sunny breaks later today, highs of 20. Tonight, lows to 12. Tomorrow, another mix of sun and cloud with highs of 19. More on the overcast side for Wednesday, high of 18. That's Canada Day, Wednesday. Thursday, chance of showers. It only lasts Thursday, though. At the moment, it only looks like Thursday's the day that has a risk of precipitation. Then it's cloudy on Friday, and then it's Saturday, Sunday, sunshine with temperatures up to the mid-20s. So that's what's in store for the week. Right now, temperatures are starting to climb up a little bit, just ever so slowly. It's 14 degrees in Swan Lake in Saanich right now. And at Shawnigan Lake, it is 13. On the markets, S&P TSX in Toronto down 174 to start the day at 34,805. The Dow is up 246 to 52,123. NASDAQ up 123 to 25,421. Canadian dollar at 70.4 cents US, down a bit from yesterday's close.
Don't attempt your morning commute without us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Well, hey, we've been mentioning we got a 4-pack of tickets to give away all this week, including today, to see Pacific FC, our local soccer team, playing on Sunday. It's their return from the break. A lot of soccer leagues all over the place have taken some time off because the World Cup is on, which makes sense, right?
You don't want to be the bridesmaid here.
They're coming back. Yeah, they're coming back on Sunday for their next game, and we want to send you all this week. So we're going to give away those tickets in just a second. So 250-386-1161. I'll take a caller in just a moment. But I wanted to set this up, actually, because, Lisa, this will be a really interesting game.
Okay.
Let me tell you about Pacific FC. Mm-hmm. They are struggling a bit. They've had 11 games so far this season. They've won none of them.
It's disheartening.
Yeah, it's 8 losses, 3 draws, 0 wins so far on the season. And as you know, if you followed the story, it meant the dismissal of their coach, who was let go earlier this season. But even though we dismissed the coach, we haven't had the new coach in yet. Do you know what this Sunday is going to be?
Is that it?
It's going to be the day that Terry Dunfield, the new coach of Pacific FC, officially takes over.
Okay.
So that's going to be his first game.
The grand unveiling?
Yeah. So I think that's going to be a really exciting game to see. If you haven't had a chance to get out to Pacific FC yet, and you were wondering which is the one to see, this might be it. You know, new coach is there. What will that energy bring to this team that really needs a change in fortune?
Yeah, I could see how, it's going to change how the players perform. Hopefully for the better.
You think so? Yeah. I think, remember when Alphonso Davies showed up yesterday?
Oh, my gosh.
Canada versus South Africa. He shows up, and all of a sudden the team just felt like a different team.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about Terry Dunfield, the new coach. So he is 44 years old. He's from Vancouver originally, but he went all over the place playing professional soccer. He played in the Premier League in England. He was with Manchester City.
Oh, he's got chops.
Yeah. Then he was in the MLS, did play for the Vancouver Whitecaps, also with Toronto FC. So he's played for some pretty major teams. He's got a lot of major experience as a player. And he's also worked with Canada's youth soccer national teams. So he's got that experience as well, kind of after his time as a player. So this is a guy with a lot of experience in various different ways. He's bringing that experience to Pacific FC. Will he be the thing that makes a difference? What will we see happen this Sunday at Starlight Stadium in Langford? You want to go? 250-386-1161. Let's open up the phone lines right now. Give me a call. 250-386-1161. We'll take a call while Lisa reads the news. Go ahead, Lisa. What's going on in the world?
Thanks, Ryan. Good morning. Canada's United Nations Ambassador David Lametti says artificial intelligence has taken up between 10 to 15% of his time since he took on the role last fall. He says there's definitely alignment on the need for safety in AI, as well as concerns from emerging countries that they may be left behind, particularly those in Asia. Lametti says AI governance is something that the UN has to do, has a definite responsibility to do. Stevie Nicks' Tim McGraw is supposed to be performing at Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding later this week in New York City. That's what Page 6 is suggesting. A lot of buzz about this and whether this whole booking is just a big decoy. I guess we'll find out soon enough later this week. But it wouldn't be surprising if it was moving ahead. Swift apparently wore a T-shirt reading Stevie Nicks with a K in Game 7 of the NBA Finals of New York that she was cheering by the sidelines. There's still no official word from the couple when exactly they're getting married, but they're not saying at this point if City Hall is confirmed. A permit for a 1,000-person bash will be held Friday at Madison Square Garden in New York City. Plus, there's a more intimate event apparently happening at the same location on Thursday. Clive Davis, the legendary record executive, is being honored today at a memorial that is closed to the public, but it is being live streamed. Davis, who launched the careers of stars like Whitney Houston and Alicia Keys, died on June 22nd. The memorial service has attendees and performers that he helped along in their career. Davis was known for his pre-Grammy Awards galas, which attracted some of the biggest names in the industry. Former U.S. President Barack Obama praised him. At this year's event, Davis signed stars including Billy Joel, the Grateful Dead, and helped revitalize the careers of Aretha Franklin and Carlos Santana. That is your headline news to 746.
Well, Lisa, we've got a winner on the line. Is this Jen?
This is Jen.
Jen, I want to congratulate you right off the bat. We took a random caller there for these Pacific FC tickets, 4-pack for Sunday's game. Congratulations. You a big Pacific FC fan?
Thank you so much. We are huge Pacific FC fans. Girls play soccer, so this is awesome.
Oh, man. So you got girls. That means this must be one of the first days of summer for you guys.
It sure is. It sure is. And we are excited for 10 weeks off.
You got big plans?
Some camping. We just picked up a brand new puppy on Saturday, so that'll take up a lot of time.
What kind of dog?
A little mini Australian Labradoodle.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Good personality.
So cute.
Actually, the timing couldn't be better. You got the summer off now, and the kids can help out with new puppy because that's a lot of work.
Here's hoping.
It's a lot of work, and that's exactly it. Yes.
Well, you got a reward for all that hard work, Jen, because we're sending you to the Pacific FC game. This is this Sunday. I got a 4-pack of tickets. You and the kids, and hopefully, whoever else you want to bring, will be off to soccer. Much appreciated. Thanks for listening.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Take care. Have fun.
Oh, that's great. And
Bye.
hey, don't worry. If you didn't win, we got 4 packs of tickets to give away all this week. So listen for your next chance to win.
That's very cool. We also have a soccer girl in her own right coming up.
Yes, that's true, because coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, we're going to be talking about the Team Canada win yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And you know who was at not in L.A. for the game, but in Vancouver for the big watch party that was going on.
The second LA going on because they were even more excited than LA.
I think so. Like the real energy was being in Vancouver for this. And Katie Hamilton, who you hear on the news here at CFAX, she was there. She's also just a big soccer. She's a huge soccer player. She's a soccer coach.
Yes.
She coaches some of the Gorge FC women. And so she's going to be a great person to talk to about both the game and the atmosphere in Vancouver during the game. So much going on.
We've seen her come back in the office a few times with a massive glow on her face. So looking forward to her unpacking the game yesterday.
That's in the 8 o'clock hour. Stand by. But coming up next, kind of a sad story for the Island Deaf and Hard of Hearing Center. It has to close its door after 35 years of providing services like assessments and no-cost refurbishment for hearing aids to people who couldn't afford it on their own. The center is closing. We're going to find out why next.
Where the noise stops and the conversation begins.
Hey, it's Friday. Welcome to the Graham Richardson Show.
The stories that shaped your week aren't just headlines. They are the moments we live through and the decisions that change what comes next.
Let's take a closer look at that together.
It's national conversations. From major policy shifts to the fun, unexpected trends and friends everyone will be talking about. It is intelligent, unpredictable, and completely Canadian. Stay informed. Stay ahead. The Graham Richardson Show. Friday morning at 9 a.m. right here on CFAX 1070.
7:51 here on a Monday, June 29th, and we've got nothing happen on the roads when it comes to crashes or congestion or people driving anywhere. It's very clear out there. It's like everybody's taking the summer off right now. There is paving work, though, on Cook Street at Hillside, then north of Hillside. Watch out for major obstructions there for today and all this week as paving work is happening. And over to the weather forecast. Overcast to start. We will see some sunny breaks today, at least we hope to. Highs to hit around about 20 degrees, lows of 12 tonight, and then it's the same tomorrow, partly cloudy with highs of about 19 degrees tomorrow. Canada Day Wednesday, mix of sun and cloud, maybe more on the cloudy side, highs of 18 degrees with the chance of showers seeming to hold off until Thursday. Hopefully it doesn't show up in Canada Day. Right now the forecast suggests any precipitation we have this week will fall Thursday. And right now it is 14 degrees.
Thanks for starting your day with us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Well, so what has happened with the Island Deaf and Hard of Hearing Centre? I think the short story is a long-term contract that provided government funding has come to an end. It came to an end a little while ago, and they've been trying to close the gap with the revenue and expenses, and at this point, they just can't do it. What does that mean for this centre, which has, again, provided hearing services to people who couldn't afford it on their own? Let's find out more with the Executive Director, Denise Robertson, with the Island Deaf and Hard of Hearing Centre. Thanks for joining us under difficult circumstances. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks, Ryan. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Yeah, so first off, maybe just sort of sketch us a picture of the Island Deaf and Hard of Hearing Centre for those who don't know, just so we know what we're talking about.
Island Deaf and Hard of Hearing Center, I think, as most people will recognize now, has been around for about 35 years, providing various different services to deaf, blind, hard of hearing, and including hearing communities. We had four cornerstones of the organization, which is how it was started. The first one was an employment program. So IDHHC has been providing employment supports and services since its inception as something that was recognized, desperately needed for individuals coming out of school education systems, and to be able to find meaningful employment. So that was part of the cornerstone of the organization. And the other one was a family and community program, that provided basically supports and services for individuals with infants who were born deaf and hard of hearing, and supporting families, children, adults, and seniors. So basically during the 0 to 100 lifetime, and providing various services and support to those particular groups. We also, a number of years ago, about 20 years ago, started doing interpreting and captioning services. So we started those here on the island, and now we have been doing those province-wide for about 7 years. And we also had, I guess you'd call it a hearing health services program. It was started out with support groups. So individuals with hearing loss, individuals with cochlear implants. We started having support groups, doing workshops, opportunities for people to come together, to learn, to share experiences. And over the years, we developed that program into a very large hearing health services area, where we now employ 4 audiologists, and we have a full audiology capability. And part of that was a dual stream. In one, we recognize that low-income seniors have absolutely no support in British Columbia to be able to purchase or access hearing health services or purchase hearing aids. So in 2016, we started the Sound of Change program, and that's a program that provides free refurbished hearing aids to low-income adults and seniors. And along with that, we expanded the program to also be able to provide private sales. So we sell hearing aids to anyone who comes in looking for hearing aids. And the idea behind that was, the social enterprise of that was to help us try and offset some of the costs for all of the free services that we provide.
Now,
that's kind of the long and short of who we are.
And it's all coming to an end tomorrow, is that right?
Today's the last day.
Oh, yeah. Today's the last day. Doors are closed tomorrow. And let's talk about why. So it's all to do with provincial funding is the short story, I understand.
Well, it's a short and a long. I think, we also have to recognize that funding, across any charitable sector has suffered extensively since COVID. And unfortunately, our friends down in the south of us aren't helping the economy or helping people to give anymore. We have noticed a significant decrease in donations in support from foundations. They've decreased steadily since 2020, 2021. So that is also a factor. But I think the bigger factor for us was in 2023, the funding that we received from the Ministry of Children and Family Development for our family and community program, which, as I said, was our core program 30 years ago. The funding was cut, and they basically said they were now going to deliver all of these services internally with their staff, with the email that we got to explain to us the rationale for why they were doing this. And even in our outreach, which we did quite a bit of into the ministry, to say that, this is more than just a service. This is just more than service to children and families. It's a service across the island. It's a foundation, it's a base, it's a core of this agency. It's like you have four legs in a chair, and this is one of them, and you're now taking that leg away. So, it's been a huge impact since then. And I think the challenge that everyone we're facing here is the reality is that the ministry wanted to fund children and family only. And we said, well, let's look at the contract that we've had for the last 10 years. It very clearly states that we serve adults as well. It has for a very long time. It has since inception. And so, where are those services going to go for adults and seniors? Where do they go? Because we've been providing them for decades. There was no response to that. And since then, there have been no services to adults or seniors on the island. We've been trying to do that off the corner of our desk as best we can. The challenge for us also was we lost, long-term staff and our desk staff and our signing staff were all let go when that program stopped. So we've been trying to grapple with how do we continue, how do we maintain, and how do we grow? Because the demand is not going away. The demand is getting bigger for all of our services. And so it's not just okay, well, we're going to send you someone that's going to help with children and families. What are you going to do about the adults? What are you going to do about the place that people gather? So IDHHC locations are critically important to the community as well. It's where community gathers. It's where people come together. It's where community happens and is built. And that's in recognition of the deaf community and respecting their language and their culture and giving them the opportunity to come together in a way that they need to. Very similar to what you would recognize in Indigenous communities. So the blow, I think, here is it's the culmination of, we've gone back and back and back, and we keep asking you for some core funding. And as I've said, to be very honest, government works in silos, and I get that. It's difficult, but you guys need to figure this out because we serve families from, this range to this range. And we cross all of your ministries. MCFD, social development, poverty reduction, health, education. Like the services that we provide touch every one of your ministries, yet every one of you points fingers at somewhere else and says, go there for money. It's been quite frustrating.
I hear the emotion in your voice. Denise Robertson, Executive Director with the Island Deaf and Hard of Hearing Centre. They've got offices in Victoria, in Nanaimo, offices that will be closing at the end of today. Today is their last day. And as you've just been hearing, some of the reasons why, the funding reasons have led them to this very difficult decision to close down. Good luck, although it sounds like it's kind of the end of the road. But I do appreciate you at least letting everybody know what's happening and some of the reasons why. Thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome, Ryan. Thank you.
Okay. We've got to take a break. 8 o'clock news is next on CFAX 1070.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. It is 8:03 on this Monday, June 29th. A little overcast to start, but some sunshine is coming. Time for the news. Here's Lisa Best.
Thank you, Ryan, and good morning. We begin in Metchosin, where police are on the ground and in the air with canines looking for a William Head Institution inmate who apparently escaped yesterday. 69-year-old Ernest Jensen is considered dangerous. West Shore RCMP are asking residents in the area and visitors to remain vigilant. He went missing after the facility's midday account. He didn't show up for that. Jensen is white, bald, 5'8", with a heavy build with a broad nose, heavy features. West Shore RCMP have been conducting extensive patrols. They're asking anybody who may have eyes on the ground, has seen anything that may look sketchy, know anything possibly about this man's whereabouts, to call 911. They say do not approach. A landmark private member's bill is passed in Parliament. The new law will close sentencing gap for Canada's most aggravated murders. Cowichan Malahat Langford MP Jeff Kibble says Bill C-235 amends the criminal code to allow judges to extend parole ineligibility beyond the 25 years, which is standard, up to a maximum of 40 years. Where an offender has been convicted of abduction, sexual assault, and murder of the same victim. The extension is discretionary, requires jury recommendation. The bill was inspired in part by a local family, specifically the case of Kimberly Proctor, the 18-year-old from Langford, who was abducted, tortured, sexually assaulted, and murdered by her classmates 15 years ago. Her family has since been required to attend parole hearings on a reoccurring basis, an ongoing burden the bill is designed to address. A program brought about by the pandemic could cause some financial headaches for the local service industry. CFAX 1070's Koch Cotton has details.
City Director of Engineering and Public Works, William Doyle, warns a planned rate hike for Victoria hospitality businesses could lead to fewer operators renewing their licences. Victoria is set to raise the outdoor patio programme's fee following a pause to staggered increases last year amid a volatile economic environment that was already putting pressure on the hospitality sector. Based on the current schedule in the bylaw, rates for next year would double from what was paid in 2026. Council will hear a recommendation this week to remove any further increases to the fee. Koch Cadden, CFAX 1070 News.
Canada is pushing for safe, equitable adoption of artificial intelligence at the United Nations. Canada's ambassador to the world body says AI is a significant priority for his team.
David Lametti says he spends 10 to 15% of his time working on AI governance.
I think the UN has to play a role there. It's the only place in the world where 194 countries can speak with 5 or 6 massive companies that have a great deal of compute power and a great deal of resources to push AI development forward.
Lametti says countries generally agree on the need for safety in AI, but he says emerging countries are particularly concerned they might be left behind if they're not part of crafting how AI is used. John Kennedy, The Canadian Press.
And that's your news to 8:06. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning, we're asking, do you agree with the province's plan to omit Vancouver in the purchase of 2,200 condos for rent-to-own opportunities? Just over 50% say yes. Good move. You can vote at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best, your news time, 8:07.
More on that story coming up in just a little over 10 minutes as we talk to the Vancouver Sun legislative reporter as we digest all of the changes for this condo thing that's got both the federal government and the provincial government to some extent a little on the back foot.
Absolutely.
You can weigh in at CFAX1070.com, but stay tuned for more conversations. Right now, over to the sports, and we'll kick things off with your World Cup report.
This is your TSN Radio FIFA World Cup 2026 update.
I'm John Rodenberg. History for Canada at the World Cup.
Schaffenberg's ball into the box, headed away by Ocon. It's Eustachio! Stefan Eustachio in stoppage time!
Stefan Eustachio's goal in extra time gave Canada a 1-0 win over South Africa and its first ever win in a knockout game at the World Cup.
It was an amazing goal. But when I shot, I felt that everybody shot with me. Everybody put a little bit of power on it, and it went into the back of the net, so I'm very happy.
The greatest win ever for our men's national team, and a moment to savor for Canadian coach Jesse Mark.
Hard work from these guys, the character of them. They're Canadian heroes. That's what I told them at the end. They're now Canadian heroes. I'm so happy for them.
Canada will play the winner of tonight's match between the Netherlands and Morocco in the round of 16 on Saturday. Two other knockout games today. Brazil battles Japan and Germany parries with Paraguay. You can watch the FIFA World Cup matches on TSN, CTV, Crave, and streaming at tsn.ca. Listen on the TSN Radio Network with all games streaming on the iHeart Radio app.
There you go. And let's take a quick look at some sports that aren't the World Cup locally, because we did see the Victoria Harbour Cats in action yesterday. They fell 10-2 to the Bellingham Bells on Sunday. This was the final game of a 3-game set. Victoria won the other two, though. So that's with the Harbour Cats. In lacrosse, Victoria Shamrocks on the road with a 15-6 win over the Maple Ridge Burrards last night. Came after the Shamrocks' 5-game winning streak was snapped on Friday night as the Burnaby Lakers escaped with a 10-9 overtime win at the Bill Copeland Arena. So that was the Shamrocks action, and that is your sports to 8:10. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. It is 8:11. Watch out for paving work on Cook Street just north of Hillside. So Hillside up to Summit is the stretch where paving work is going to be happening all this week. Major delays and closures will be taking place. If you can, just maybe avoid that little bit of Cook Street there and take an alternate route. The good news is the commute is very light today. There's nothing going on. I feel like, the Week of Canada Day and first week, full week off of school are leading to a few people not commuting today. Let's just say that's the case out there right now.
Makes it easier for those who are.
For those that are going to work, you've got just smooth highways with nothing to see.
Upside.
It's a very good, if you did not take this week off, just enjoy the commute.
Yeah.
Upsides all over the place. The weather forecast is actually, so this is the Canada Day weather forecast. It could be sunnier, but,
it could be. Is it going to be, though?
So it's looking a little cloudy right now to start this week off. We are expecting a few sunny breaks today, highs at 20. Tonight, a few clouds, lows to 12. Tomorrow, another mix of sun and cloud with highs about 19. It is pretty overcast for Canada Day Wednesday, but it looks like at least it stays dry. The chance of showers that shows up is Thursday. So that is the one day where we might see some more rain. It doesn't seem to extend that much further past Thursday. Still maybe cloudy on Friday, but drying up. And then Saturday and Sunday, they look like the nicest as far as, sunshine and warmth. The sunnier, warmer days are coming Saturday and Sunday at the end of the week. So that is the picture for this Canada Day weekend and week, and then weekend again. It's kind of
2 very short weeks.
That's what we got going on right now.
Tiny weekend in the middle of where we celebrate Canada Day.
The little mini weekend is coming. For the temperatures right now, it's about 14 degrees over most of Greater Victoria. On the markets in Toronto, it's still down. S&P TSX starting the day down 123 to 34,856. The Dow is up 319 to 52,196. The Nasdaq is up 295 to 25,593. Canadian dollar at 70.4 cents US, which is down a little bit from yesterday's close.
In the kitchen, in the car, and at the office. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Take us with you. Listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
And when I say yesterday's close, of course, I mean Friday's close. That's what I mean.
Yes,
Anyways.
the other day.
The other day.
The final closing day. We got it.
Okay, coming up, we got lots going on. The Canada-South Africa match yesterday, which will go down in Canadian sports history. A 1-0 win in stoppage time that sent us further in the World Cup than we'd ever been. We've already been further than we've ever been, and now we're going to go even further. Somebody else has thrown a factoid that Canada gets to be the first team ever to advance in a round of 32 knockout round because they've never done that before. There's never been a round of 32 before.
True.
So we get to be the first ever.
There's a lot of firsts here.
I know, so many firsts.
Okay.
Katie Hamilton, CFAX 1070's own Katie Hamilton, has been over in Vancouver checking things out. I know this game was in LA, but she was in Vancouver for the big celebrations and watch parties. She's going to join us with some of how it was there, but also just some thoughts on the game itself, because she's a soccer pro herself.
Yes, she is.
But coming up before all that, we're going to get into this so-called condo bailout controversy. We know that the federal government and the provincial government have continued to sort of try to defend this idea to purchase some condos in BC. And a lot of people are calling it a developer bailout, or, why would we do this?
Because they were sitting empty.
Well, there's that, yeah. At the end of the week last week, we did see the federal government, Mark Carney, the prime minister, trying to defend this a little bit. David Eby was out as well, kind of acknowledging that this has gone very poorly. Both of them saying, we've done a bad job of explaining this. Even David Eby going as far as saying, we don't have to do this. Everybody hates it. It's not a done deal necessarily. But
that's a lot of backstepping.
Yeah. And they also tried to clarify that, downtown condos in Vancouver are not even the ones they're looking at. They said it's sort of south of the Fraser River,
right?
On the mainland that they're looking at, maybe even Vancouver Island. Other parts of BC are where they might be looking to do this, not necessarily those downtown condos.
Okay.
So this story has been changing a bit, shifting a bit. Is it enough to change the public perception of this? We're going to get into that question with Alec Lazenby from the Vancouver Sun, legislative reporter who's been following this. He's going to be weighing in next, right after we get to the news. Oh, and of course, you can vote at CFAX1070.com because we've got our news poll question on this topic as well if you want to go check that out. But Lisa, what's going on?
Well, if you're heading out into the wilderness, as a lot of people do, because it's kind of a weird work week with a day off in the middle of it, latest issue of the Canadian Medical Association Journal contains a strong warning to us about rabies prevention. Infectious disease physicians are urging people to seek medical attention if you have any contact at all with bats to potentially avoid rabies infection. There's a series of vaccines and a dose of antibiotics that you'll receive. The particular entry to the journal cites a case of an 11-year-old boy in Ontario who died weeks after being awoken by a bat that was lying on its nose, on his nose and mouth, while in northern Ontario. His parents looked at him, didn't have a scratch on him, so they figured he was okay. They figured wrong. McMaster Children's Hospital pediatric infectious disease doctor, Dr. Brian Hummel, says rabies has a relatively long incubation period, and there is no treatment or cure once the symptoms start. Tom Sidden, who served as the cabinet minister under Prime Minister Brian Mulroney during the Oka crisis and later helped to establish Nunavut, has died at the age of 84. His daughter confirmed his death Sunday in a post on social media. She says her father, originally from Alberta, stumbled into politics in the 1970s and was known for building bridges and finding consensus. Sidden Karn was one of her dad's proudest moments, was working to secure the Nunavut land settlement agreement that, quite frankly, put Nunavut on the map. And a federal study prepared for the Order of Canada Advisory Council says some Indigenous people are wary of it. The April presentation says recent feedback shows that accepting the Order of Canada could bring feelings of discomfort or shame for some Indigenous people due to the honor's colonial connection. The Privy Council Impact Office says it's been working with the Office of the Secretary of the Governor General and Rita Hall Foundation to learn more about the public awareness level for the Order of Canada. That is your news to 8:17.
All right, more on the backlash to the so-called condo bailout plan from the federal and provincial governments. Alec Lazenby with the Vancouver Sun joining us next. If you see a problem in traffic, though, text us at 71010. We got your full traffic and weather in just a moment. CFAX traffic and weather. Major paving delays on Cook Street north of Hillside. Watch out for that, but it's really the only serious issue facing commuters right now. Everything else is very clear. Not a lot of people commuting. No crashes. Text me at 71010 if you see otherwise. For BC Ferries, no sailing waits right now. And for the weather forecast, a little on the cloudy side to start the day, but we see some sunny breaks later this afternoon. Highs of 20. Partly cloudy tonight, lows to 12. And tomorrow, a mix of sun and cloud with highs of 19. And throughout all of that, by the way, kind of today, tomorrow, a little breeze off the Wanda-Fuca Strait at times to be expected. To Canada Day now. That's Wednesday. It stays mostly cloudy. We could see a few sunny breaks, but mostly cloudy with a high of 18. Chance of showers on Thursday. Just a chance. 40% chance we could see some scattered precipitation. Dries up for Friday with some clouds, and then Saturday, Sundays, when it turns around, it gets sunnier again and maybe warmer with temperatures by then climbing up into the mid-20s. Right now, it's about 14 degrees in Victoria.
Ryan and Lisa. Mornings on CFAX 1070. Remember, you have us in the palm of your hand. For listeners on the go, listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
Well, the last time I spoke to Vancouver Sun reporter Alec Lazenby was exactly a week ago, and we had just been learning about this plan from the provincial and federal governments to buy up a bunch of unsold condos in Vancouver. It was already starting to get a little bit of backlash at the time. Well, now we've had a week. We've learned a bit more about what this program is like, and the backlash has continued to grow. So let's find out more about how this story has developed as we kick off our Monday with Alec Lazenby, legislative reporter with the Vancouver Sun. Great to get you back here, Alec.
Thanks for having me, Ryan, as always.
Yeah, I remember when you and I spoke on Monday, one of the things we were doing was saying, look, we don't have a lot of information. We've got this vague sketch of a plan. People are reacting to it, but it's kind of hard to weigh in, not really knowing what this looks like. Now, though, we've had a week. We've had both the Prime Minister and the Premier trying to explain a little bit and admitting they've done a terrible job of explaining it. Both of them have kind of said that. But we were learning a bit more. So maybe pick up the story. Where are we at with this?
Yeah, so we learned a few more details last week. We learned that the total cost of the program will be $1.45 billion, with both the province and the federal government each pitching in $145 million. Now, the rest of that will come through financing, and we have no idea what that financing will look like at this point. We know it will be a rent-to-own program where renters will put in a certain amount of their rent towards a down payment to be able to buy the apartment they are living in. But outside of that, we still don't have a ton of details. You have the Premier, David Eby, saying, this isn't a bailout. This program isn't going to be designed to bail out developers who made bad business decisions. It's not going to apply to the city of Vancouver, but most of these units that the province presumably is looking at would still be in Metro Vancouver, places like Burnaby, Richmond, that have a lot of these unsold condos. And so we're waiting to see what that looks like. Presumably we'll get more details in the fall. You've got the Prime Minister Mark Carney coming in saying, well, no, we wanted to do what we did in Ontario with eliminating the GST on new builds on housing, and the province didn't want that, so this is the program we came up instead, kind of throwing the Premier onto the bus.
Yeah.
And the Premier saying, this is that wouldn't work for us because of the different way our taxation system works, and it wouldn't provide the same benefit. And so you've kind of got the Prime Minister and the Premier at loggerheads over whose idea this was and what it will look like, and so it's still a bit of a mess.
So, but the what we've learned, just to clarify, so still looking at buying some empty condos, but not necessarily downtown Vancouver, which is what everybody thought at first, and a rent-to-own program. So that's kind of what they're hoping this will be. Like, you'll rent it, but in the end, maybe you can own it. I guess just making it more affordable for some people to get into the market that way. That's the idea. Again, still don't know a lot of details, but at least that's the rough picture of it. Why was that a change, saying not downtown Vancouver, or was that a mistake for people who thought they meant downtown Vancouver but they didn't originally? Or I'm still trying to get my head around that shift.
I mean, it wasn't clear to start. I mean, we all thought it would be in Vancouver because that's where a large concentration of these condos are, and they never explicitly said not Vancouver. Now they've clarified to say not the city of Vancouver, but yes to Metro Vancouver. I think a lot of this has more to do with them looking at the units that are in the city of Vancouver and saying, oh, wow, most of these are, over $1 million. That's not really the price threshold that we want for this program, and trying to find, units that they can get at a bit of a discount. And I think, that just wasn't feasible in the city of Vancouver. So I don't know if that was part of the original plan and they just didn't communicate it, or if it's something that they've kind of come up with over the past couple weeks. But, apparently it won't apply to the city of Vancouver. Metro Vancouver is in, but city of Vancouver is not.
And one of the things that was discussed a little bit off the top, and I don't know where this is at now in the story, but I know it's getting heavily criticized for being this, developer bailout thing. But that was part of the conversation originally, wasn't it? That, there's a lot of unsold inventory. This could push some developers to bankruptcy if it doesn't change. And at a time where we need to build more housing, having a bunch of bankrupt developers and house constructors is not a good thing. Is that still part of the reasoning here, or are they backing off of that, or was that ever part of the reasoning? I'm just trying to clarify what's the truth here and what's been kind of the misconstrued stuff out of all this.
I mean, so much of this has been miscommunication, and so we don't know whether that was part of the original plan. We don't know whether this was actually designed as a developer bailout, but they're certainly backtracking now on any idea that it is.
Right.
With the Premier saying, no, this isn't meant to help out developers who are bad business decisions. There will be a correction in the market. But talking to some people, it's hard because you've got a provincial government and to some extent a federal government that have been doing a lot of different programs, supports, things like that to try to make housing more affordable. But then the flip side of this is that you've got all these condo developers who thought that the market wouldn't change. So they built these condos that are shoe boxes for over $1 million that now nobody wants to buy. And so do you keep going with the, efforts to make it more affordable, or do you bail out these developers who made bad business decisions, but at the end of the day do represent a large chunk of the Metro Vancouver economy? And so it's kind of, where do you go as a government here? And I think that's what they're trying to figure out.
Alec Lazenby, legislative reporter with the Vancouver Sun. One last quick question for you, just about at a time, but for the federal government side of things, for Mark Carney's side of things, I believe the opposition Conservatives have identified this as maybe a weakness. This could be a chink in the armor of what has been a honeymooning Mark Carney, and they've been going at it relentlessly. And I wonder if this thing even survives the pressure that's being put on it by opposition parties.
I mean, the premier seemed to leave open the possibility that it won't when he said, well, if people don't like this, we don't have to do it, which seems, a week after announcing a new program, that seems pretty remarkable to basically leave the door open to backing out of it that quickly, which would be, a disaster in terms of, we tried to do this housing program and then we almost immediately had to back out of it after so much time of saying, no, we need a made in BC solution. We can't do what Ontario is doing. So it'll be interesting to see how the province proceeds with this.
Hey, it's great to talk to you and read Alex's work in the Vancouver Sun newspaper. Great coverage of the BC government and beyond. But we'll talk again soon.
Thank you so much, Ryan.
Well, we'll take a break. We got the 8:30 news next on CFAX.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island. Downtown Victoria is alive with free soccer-themed events, live match screenings, and more. Details at downtownvictoria.ca. Celebrate summer at the 59th Annual Saanich Strawberry Festival, Sunday, July 5th, 11 to 4 p.m. at Beaver Beach at Beaver Lake Regional Park.
Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Hey, good morning. It is 8:31 on Monday, June 29th. Welcome to the day. A little cloudy to start. We're expecting some sunny breaks later today. Full forecast to come. Right now, the news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
Thank you, Ryan, and good morning. A landmark private members' bill has now passed in Parliament. The new law will close sentencing gaps for Canada's most aggravated murder cases. Cowichan Malahat Langford MP Jeff Kibble says Bill C-235 amends the criminal code to allow judges to extend parole ineligibility beyond the standard 25 years, up to a maximum of 40 years. That's where an offender has been convicted of abduction, sexual assault, and murder of the same victim. The extension is discretionary and requires jury recommendation. But the bill was in part inspired by a local family, specifically by the case of Kimberly Proctor. That 18-year-old from Langford was abducted, tortured, sexually assaulted, and murdered by two classmates 15 years ago. Her family has since been required to attend parole hearings on a recurring basis, and that's an ongoing burden the bill is designed to address. A heavy police presence continues in Micho's and around the area of William Head Institution. West Shore RCMP were notified yesterday around 1 that Ernest Jensen was missing during the midday count. He is considered dangerous. Jensen is white, bald, 5'8" with a heavy build. He has a broad nose and heavy features. They're asking residents in the area and visitors to remain vigilant as the search continues for the 69-year-old. West Shore CMP have been conducting extensive patrols on the ground with police dogs, and they have air patrols overhead as well, so you might see flights in the area. If you have any information on this suspect, this inmate, you know of his whereabouts, or you spot someone who fits the description, call 911. Our CMP are asking you do not approach. Search and rescue officials say 6 people are believed to be still in the waters off Vancouver Airport. The Canadian Armed Forces say the Joint Rescue Coordination Centre here in Victoria was alerted just before noon Sunday about several people in the water without flotation devices. Military officials say it happened about 10 nautical miles southwest of the Vancouver International Airport. 4 people rescued around 3 Sunday afternoon, plucked from the water, taken to the nearby Coast Guard station. The search continues for the 6 others who remain missing. A rich supply of food and conservation efforts have made this area surrounding Salish Sea a festival ground for whale spotting. UBC marine biologist Julia Adelsheim says one reason for the surge in sightings of orca and humpback whales, among other species, is the use of social media by whale spotting groups.
But part of it is that there actually are a lot more whales in the area this time of year. A lot of it is it's just the seasonality of the Salish Sea and our marine environment. It really peaks in the summer when we have a lot of sun.
Adelsheim says the sun broadens the aquatic food pyramid, which means more fish and more seals, which ultimately attracts more orca. In Venezuela, search teams still trying to dig for survivors days after deadly twin earthquakes.
Time is running out for any survivors buried underneath rubble in Venezuela. 140 search dogs from 21 countries working night and day to find those trapped. New video shows a mother and her 18-day-old newborn pulled from underneath what remained of their apartment building in La Guaira after being trapped for 32 hours.
And new rounds of talks between the U.S. and Iran may take place this week in Qatar. This comes after a tense weekend of back-and-forth strikes between the two countries.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff will brief Congress on Iran this afternoon, according to multiple sources familiar. It will be an unclassified phone briefing for all members of the House and Senate, and will be the first one for lawmakers since President Trump signed the memo of understanding between the U.S. and Iran. Sources say a separate classified briefing is expected later this week for members on relevant committees. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
That's your CFAX News to 8:35. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We're asking you about the condo rent-to-own opportunities. Do you agree with the province's plan to omit Vancouver in the purchase of 2,200 units? 53% say yes. You can vote now at CFAX1070.com or in the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa, best your news time is 8:37.
Thank you, Lisa. A little cloudy to start today. We hopefully will see some sunny breaks by this afternoon. And then a high temperature to eventually hit 20 degrees is what you can expect out of today. We'll get you a full forecast in a moment. It's kind of summer was the solstice back a week or so ago, but today is the real start of summer for a lot of school kids. It's Monday and you don't have to go anywhere if you're a school kid. Some of us are working, though. Let's get to the CFAX 1070 Sports. Let's talk about soccer. We've got the Team Canada watching closely tonight's round of 32 World Cup knockout match between Morocco and the Netherlands, because the winner of that one goes on to play Canada this coming Saturday in Houston, 10 a.m. in the round of 16. Now, this after Canada already booked our ticket. Steven Eustáquio scoring in the second minute of second half stoppage time yesterday in L.A. yesterday as Canada edged South Africa 1-0 in the first knockout game of the World Cup. I think that's kind of cool. That'll be a fun trivia question one day because we've never seen a round of 32 before.
Right.
They've always just gone right to the round of 16, but there's just so many teams in this World Cup that they expanded it to add this extra round of 32 in the knockout stage. So
Does it make it more confusing or more thrilling, or column A, column B?
Well, I think it's just more. Like, it's just more.
Yes, you're correct about that.
But that'll be one day at a pub quiz. You're going to get the question of, like, who was the first team to ever move on in a round of 32 knockout of the World Cup? And you can say Canada.
That's a good point.
There's your... Just getting you ready for that moment in life.
We're primed.
So that happened yesterday. Now we wait on tonight's match. There's a few others as well as the round of 32 knockouts continue today. But Morocco, Netherlands. That's the one that means something to Canada. The Harbour Cats in Victoria came up short in the third game of their series against the Bellingham Bells. They fell 10-2 yesterday at home at Wilson's Group Stadium, Royal Athletic Park. So we see the loss yesterday. But you know what? Victoria won the other two games of that three-game series, so we're the series winners overall. And now we will wait for tomorrow when the Victoria Harbour Cats take on the Nanaimo Night Owls at 6:35 for the first of a three-game set. In lacrosse, Victoria Shamrocks continued with two road games over the weekend. Last night it was the Shamrocks defeating the Maple Ridge Burrards 15-6, but the Shamrocks saw their five-game winning streak come to an end back on Friday when the Burnaby Lakers got a 10-9 overtime win. And Wimbledon is getting underway today. In the men's singles, Felix Auger-Aliassime of Montreal is in action, and we have Denis Shapovalov of Richmond Hill, Ontario, also in action at Wimbledon. Those are the Canadians to watch, and that's your sports to 8:39. It's 8:40 on Monday morning, and the roads are looking fantastic. If you're commuting, there's nobody out there. It's clear. No crashes either. We do have a massive paving delay, though, if you're on Cook Street. This is at Hillside, the north to Summit. All this week, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., they'll be doing some paving work there. It's going to cause delays and sometimes full closures. Try to skirt around that if you can. The nice thing is all the other routes are just fine because nobody's driving today, so you can easily take a detour and not find any delays. For BC Ferries, no sailing waits, and for the weather forecast, let's unpack this as we get ready for a week that's kind of a weird one because we got Canada Day, the stat holiday, right in the middle of the week on Wednesday. So we got this little mini week now, a day off if you get the stat holiday, I should say, and then another part of the week for Thursday, Friday. Today is a mix of sun and cloud. It will get sunny. We were kind of overcast to start, but a mix of sun and cloud expected today, highs of 20. Same thing again for tomorrow. Then Canada Day. Let's get to the holiday. It is going to be cloudy for the most part. We might see some sunny breaks, but kind of overcast and highs of 18 degrees. At least you won't have to worry about burning if you're on a beach, I guess. There's that.
The upside?
There's the upside.
I'm going to create a segment for you called The Upside.
The Upside.
Oh, wait, that's taken.
Oh, yeah, somebody else does that. But anyways, silver linings with Ryan. You won't, hopefully won't burn.
I like that.
If you're out on a beach for Canada Day. Then chance of showers is coming in on Thursday. There's another silver lining. The chance of showers is not Canada Day. It's Thursday. Friday, cloudy. Saturday, Sunday, the sun comes back and temperatures climb up to the mid-20s. And right now, the temperatures are around about 15 degrees in Victoria as we slowly start warming up into the day. On the markets, S&P TSX in Toronto down 201 now, continuing some losses, down to 34,778. The Nasdaq is up 195 to 52,072. Nasdaq up by 265 to 25,256. Canadian dollar at 70.4 cents US, which is down a little bit from yesterday, or I should say Friday's close.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Oversleepers, catch all the highlights on the latest audio podcast at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
Canada definitely just made history going to the round of 16 in the World Cup. I never thought I'd see that in my lifetime, honestly. But yeah, Canadian soccer is like getting a lot better, which is warms my heart.
Our win was everything to us tonight. We had an amazing time. I can't wait for the next match.
Unreal. I mean, nerves all game, but the result we deserved, we wanted.
Oh, it was amazing. I was ecstatic the entire time. The vibe was great. And I was especially happy when they scored. Everyone was yelling. It was just a great time overall.
It was great, especially when they finally scored at the end.
Did you get the impression that a lot of these people they're talking to are new soccer fans?
Oh, yeah.
Fresh to the game?
That's such a Canadian thing, eh? Like, North America, soccer is not as big as some things. We got our hockey and
the scores aren't as high either.
Yeah.
So, we're used to high-scoring games. Look at basketball. And then I was really excited when they scored.
When they finally scored.
To me, it's really sweet because we've got a lot of Canadians that I suspect are jumping on the soccer bandwagon in a big way.
I love it. That's the sound of a bunch of them. Those were people just kind of coming out of the watch parties that took place all over Canada. We had them in Victoria. We had them in Vancouver and, many cities across the way. And the one in Vancouver, by the way, was huge because BC Place, the area around it, going crazy for this.
There's on social media, the footage of the BC of these areas in Vancouver, even in Langford, they had 450 people out.
Yeah,
everyone jumping up and
there.
down in glee. It was team spirit on steroids, really.
Now, CFAX 1070's own Katie Hamilton,
Yes.
you hear her on the news. She was there in Vancouver because actually she's been doing a bunch of stuff with the World Cup. You might not know this about her if you just hear her on the news, but she is also a soccer coach. She coaches women's soccer.
Deep into it.
At Gorge. She's deep into the soccer scene and the sports scene around Victoria and beyond. And she was over there in Vancouver. So, one, I want to hear about the Vancouver experience, but two, I want to hear her take on that game yesterday from somebody who's much more knowledgeable about soccer than I am. So Katie Hamilton from CFAX joining us in just a moment. Right now, though, the news headlines with Lisa.
A search continues in the waters off Vancouver for survivors of a charter boat that sank yesterday off the coast. RCMP say it happened in the Strait of George off the coast of Richmond. The vessel started taking on water around noon. RCMP say 4 people were plucked from the water, taken to hospital. The search is on for 6 still missing. The cause of that sinking under investigation, but the people they plucked from the water, they say, were not wearing flotation devices. Britain's presumptive next prime minister has laid out his economic vision for the country. Andy Burnham pledged today to give away a chunk of his power by handing greater autonomy to local leaders in a circuit breaker for the rigid British state. Burnham says growth can only be nurtured from the bottom up instead of being ordered from the bottom down. The former mayor of Manchester won a special election for the seat of Parliament on June 18th before being sworn in as a lawmaker June 22nd, the same day that Keir Starmer threw in the towel saying he was resigning as Prime Minister. And if you like Letterman, you want to see him live, you'd have to travel east. Former late night host David Letterman will headline the Just for Laughs in Montreal. He's set to host an evening with David Letterman and special guest Will Arnett on July 21st at Place d'Art. The Montreal Festival runs July 15th through 26th. Letterman took the stage in Vancouver earlier this year for his first Canadian performance since 1978. That's your news, 8:46.
Thank you, Lisa. By the way, as we announced earlier, the CFAX Santa's Anonymous Society is raising funds through the Kids Count Mega Summer 50-50, which we've got now live. It's a 50-50 draw, but radio station wide. If you go to CFAX1070.com and click on the contests page,
I'm there.
You can go and you click all the buttons, get to the thing. I'm excited to say that the 50-50 jackpot is already at $135.
Okay.
If you were to win this today, you would get $67.50.
We're not stopping there.
Nothing to sneeze at,
No.
but let's see where
That's
this thing
a tank
goes.
of gas, Ryan.
I'm not complaining about a tank of gas.
No, but we are expecting big money from this. So the more people get in on it, the more you could possibly win.
Yeah. And
That's all for charity.
the draw is going to be coming up in about the end of August. So you got lots of time, but don't wait. Buy your tickets now. You can buy as many as you want. CFAX1070.com. Click on contests, and you'll find the Mega Summer 50-50 right there. Check it out.
Awesome.
Okay. Texter at 71010 says, Market Square went wild yesterday when Canada scored. I was driving on Yates at the time. I'm sure they could be heard in the Inner Harbor. Yeah, I think there's just like bars, restaurants, TVs everywhere.
Yeah, people put their TVs
Everyone
out on the front
shouting.
lawn to watch.
Just, you can kind of hear the screams wafting down the hallway. Yeah.
Yes, it was very cool. A lot of team spirit.
Team Canada history, beating South Africa 1-0. Katie Hamilton from CFAX 1070, who was there in Vancouver at one of these watch parties, joining us next.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island. Downtown Victoria is alive with free soccer-themed events, live match screenings, and more. Details at downtownvictoria.ca. Celebrate summer at the 59th Annual Saanich Strawberry Festival, Sunday, July 5th, 11 to 4 p.m. at Beaver Beach at Beaver Lake Regional Park.
Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
The Whole Home Show with Tony Joe.
Everyone wants to know about real estate. Is the market going up or down? Time to buy or sell? How can government programs and policies affect you? Hear from local experts on topics like appraisal, inspection, investment, and others on how to maximize your real estate sale.
Providing info on everything you needed to know about real estate. The Whole Home Show with Tony Joe. Saturdays at noon on CFAX 1070.
CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. Text me at 71010 if you see any problems. Right now, I am completely devoid of problems. The roads look great. No congestion at all. Nobody's driving. No crashes. Paving work, though. Cook Street, Hillside, and then northbound up until Summit. Major delays expected all this week at that one little stretch because they're doing some paving there. Occasional full closures and delays otherwise. For BC Ferries, no sailing waits right now, 9 o'clock. Oh, wait, no. I'm going to correct that. The 9 o'clock is now full. It's a one sail wait, but we got a 10 o'clock coming up pretty quick. So if you missed the 9, you don't have to wait long. For the weather forecast, it is going to be eventually a mix of sun and cloud. We're very overcast right now, but some sunny breaks are expected. Right now, we're at 14 degrees, heading towards a high of 20.
Ryan and Lisa are ready when you are.
Good morning.
Day or night, find the highlights under latest audio at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
Well, people are still reveling in Canada's big win yesterday, the furthest we've ever made it at a World Cup of soccer. And somebody who was in one of the parties, actually a host of one of the big parties going on in the Vancouver area for this, is CFAX 1070's own Katie Hamilton, who's joining us on the line. Katie, hello.
Good morning, Ryan and Lisa.
Great to talk to you. So let's just set this up real quick. So yesterday during the game, you were at Canada Soccer House, which is in North Vancouver.
That's correct. Yes, in North Vancouver, they've had the games going out, all different matches, not just Canada, but they've had the games throughout the whole tournament. And yes, yesterday was the big Canada South Africa game, so I was able to be over there for it.
What was it like checking it out there? There was watch parties like this all over the place, but that one's Canada Soccer House. That one has got to have been pretty big.
Oh, yeah, it was incredible. It's so much fun. I mean, North Van, it was my first time. It's at the shipyards in North Van, and what an amazing place. It's just beautiful, and this weather has been terrific as well. So the whole setup is fantastic. They have a massive big screen. It's under the shipyards big building that they have, which is kind of outdoor-indoor for people who haven't been there. But so you're covered from the elements, and it's truly been spectacular. I believe someone told me it's around 5,000 to 6,000 capacity, so you can fit a lot of people in there. And the atmosphere, especially yesterday, it was packed. It was at capacity, and everyone was just there in their red, so excited to cheer on Canada.
Now, Katie, you're deeply involved in soccer because, if you don't mind me saying, you know in other ways you coach a women's gorge team, right? So you've got a lot of soccer experience. You're a player yourself. This is all correct, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's correct. Yes.
How interesting is it for you to see this much enthusiasm for this game that you love so much? I mean, it's not always in Canada, in North America. It's not always one of the top of mind games, but right now it really is. What was it like to be there yesterday and see this much Canadian enthusiasm for this game?
Oh, it's so fantastic. I mean, we see it for the hockey, right? For the Olympics, for the Four Nations tournament that happened. So to see everyone come together for the World Cup, for soccer, and just to see where soccer is going. Like you said, it's growing, right? And we see it. I'm at Gorge Soccer, and we see the registration. It keeps going. Soccer is accessible, and I think that's the main key is, you have your registration. You don't need much gear, but we see more and more children, boys and girls, adults even, registering and wanting to play, whether that's just for fun or to compete. And I think this just really highlights it. It shows the World Cup. It's here in Canada. Our men's team is doing so well. We're so proud of them. So I think it's great momentum to keep going. It's such a great sport. Like you said, it might not be as much in North America being talked about compared to the rest of the world, but it is now, right? And it's fantastic to see where it's going, and I'm excited to be part of it.
Right. So you do think like something like this has got to be a big change for just soccer. And, I'll be curious to see, if you see registrations up when the fall kicks off and sort of another soccer season starts.
Yes, absolutely. And something that else is exciting is the Women's World Cup is next year. It's in Brazil. So that's also can we continue this momentum from the men's into the women's and just kind of cross over everything? I definitely think that we're going to see some registration spike or at least some interest, which will be great because we want kids and we want adults too. It's such a great sport. You're outside. It's healthy. And it's the beautiful game, right? So the more people that we can have playing and watching, it's just going to continue and join our nation together, just like we've been watching the games. And that was something that was really special and emotional to be part of yesterday, especially when that goal was scored, was just to be there with fellow supporters of Canada and just everybody's excitement.
Now, as a soccer person yourself, I'd love to get your opinion on the game. So that's been the experience watching it. Let's talk about what you were seeing on the field for a second, because so exciting to see that goal at the end, stoppage time. We didn't have to go to penalty kicks or extra time, which I was very thankful for. But let's get your critical soccer hat on. What did you make of Canada's performance there?
Yeah, I thought it was a good game. I mean, South Africa is fast, and they qualified, or they came where they did for a reason, right? They played well in group stage. There was definitely moments that was a little bit more quiet, I felt like, during the game. But Canada came, especially when they did the substitution for Alphonso Davies. There was something that just kind of switched. And, of course, at Canada Soccer House, the crowd erupted when Davies came on. It was the first time seeing him from his injury, so it was a special moment for not just the team, but for Canada and all the fans. And there was just a little bit of a little excitement that came on, and it changes how South Africa can play. They kind of have to watch Davies because you never know what he's going to pull out of his tricks. But I think there's more that we can and we will see from Canada. They played well. There was moments of greatness. Like I said, there was moments that were a little bit quieter. South Africans also looked dangerous on the attack, but Canada, they had multiple occasions that were shots that were cleared off the line, and they looked like the better team throughout the match. But I think going into this next match, I think there's still more for us to see from Canada.
And hopefully we see Alphonso Davies again. I know he's on kind of limited time, which was what we saw yesterday, right? Like he came on at the end because that's really the amount of time we could give him because of his injury he's coming back for. But maybe see him more next game, you think?
Yeah, and I think that's very promising that we saw him because also if they were tied, they would have gone into the extra time of 15 minutes where Alphonso probably would have had to play. Otherwise, you'd have to have him for a sub. So definitely watching those minutes yesterday. Also, Moise Bombito, he was a center back for Canada who got injured. We haven't seen him play. He started yesterday's match and got quite a few minutes in. So that's also very promising to see both those two players back on the pitch, getting those quality minutes, getting touches on the ball, especially going into a tough match in the round of 16 against either Morocco or the Netherlands.
Oh, yeah, and that's tonight. Morocco, Netherlands, they're going to be playing. We'll see who we're going to end up playing in that game, Canada, on Saturday. Real quick, if you had to pick, who would you rather face, Netherlands or Morocco? Who are you hoping to see move on to play Canada?
Ryan, I don't know if I can answer that. I mean, Morocco 6th, Netherlands 7th. They're both unbelievable teams. So I feel like it's, you know what, it's two phenomenal teams, and you just got to be ready to battle whichever team that you get to go against.
Katie Hamilton, CFAX 1070 news anchor and fine soccer expert. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thanks, Ryan.
That's it for today. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll talk tomorrow.